right. That is right. Episode 100. I can't believe it. I was already called a nerd today for all the cool buttons.
You so banana.
All the
That's
cool
what
stuff
she
that I
said.
have. That's right.
You can't handle the truth.
Episode 100. I know you guys can't believe it. I can't believe it. But we're going to get straight to the point today. This is the last episode. This is it right now. Last episode forever. I know you guys are going to be very, very sad, you ladies and gentlemen. But I want to start off by first, number one, saying thank you guys for supporting me this whole time, sending me money, buying my clothes, saying mean things, saying nice things, mostly nice things, but also sticking with me through all the pain and torture. So real quick, actually, since you guys were watching the intro, I'm gonna let's see if I can bring this up real quick. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
Oh, the picture.
Yeah, I want you to explain this, Andre. Let's go ahead and go to this. So explain this real quick so that people know who we're talking to and how this all started. Let's just start with the photo here.
Yeah, so that picture, it's completely candid. So that's not like planned or anything like that.
It looks like a photo shoot. The actual photo with the truck in the
well,
back?
like right before that was a photo shoot. So I was
Okay.
doing all these pictures and everything else, and then that one, I heard something funny about it, and I was laughing. But this is actually 2 days after I got out of the emergency room for ripping that some connective tissue from my rib cage to my heart membrane. So I was in the emergency room for about 2 days, or in the hospital for about 2 days.
And that's why you're standing like that.
Yeah, I was completely out of breath.
I wouldn't have guessed it, but it does. You can see now that like you're kind of leaning forward, trying not to like put pressure on it.
Yeah, it hurt. And then I was actually on a trip to Ridgecrest, like probably 2 minutes after that picture was taken. I hopped in the truck and took off.
Okay.
So we went camping out in the desert.
Oh,
And then,
man.
yeah,
Savage.
that was an event in itself. So
That hurts. Ribs are no big deal.
No.
You can get over it pretty quick as long as you're camping and wearing a Def Leopard shirt and some camo.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen that combination before.
yeah,
That's legit. That's straight legit.
it looked cool.
It does. It looks real cool. And if you look at my picture, I'll explain my picture. I just took one real quick. That's all. Nothing special. Okay, here we go. So you guys heard a little bit there, but we're having a nice stogie celebrating the last episode. Actually, Andre did not know this was going to be our last episode.
No, not until like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, and I let him know. And now he's here joining us. So thank you, Andre, for being here.
No problem.
So let's talk a little bit about how we met, and then we'll get into the typical episode, which is questions. You guys know what to do here watching. Ask questions in the comments. You've already previously asked a ton of questions, so we have probably enough. But if you guys want to ask something now, this is your time because this is the last episode ever. Okay, I'm taking a break. So we'll talk a bit about Andre and not just his tattoos, but how we met and how it started. Actually, I'm going to start it off real quick.
By all means.
So the actual story is, I feel like it's been like a year now. I think
Probably a little bit over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
2022.
this guy pulls up. I want to say you were driving your Bronco. You were. It was red. So you're driving, or you're not. Sorry, not your Bronco. The Jimmy. I do that all the time.
No, that's all right. I get it all the time.
So he brings the Jimmy. He parks it out front. It's this big red rusty rig, and he comes in with his mustache, his cool hair, and his sunglasses. And sorry, ladies. Well, the crew's kind of changed, so I guess I'm not throwing anybody specifically under the bus, but Freudian slip right there. So right before you got to the door, you should have heard the girls. They were like, "Oh," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Who's this?" And they never do that. They never care. They never pay attention. And so you caught their attention right away, and I just thought it was hilarious to watch. And some of those girls are no longer with us in the shop, but it was just funny. And that was the introduction to you. And then you brought me your tattoo idea, and I was like instantly sold. I'm like, dude, me and this guy are going to get along.
Yeah, I think you even said that too. You're like, I've never done a tattoo that way.
Yeah,
and I'm excited.
Yep, because it was like comic sort of
the
Western.
Lone Ranger
old school
comic book tattoo. And I got that idea because I was looking for because my brother had like a PlayStation Portable that I had given him years ago when it got stolen.
Okay.
So I was at that comic book store that's over there by, where's that by? Where Hobbytown USA used to be, in that big building on Barstow and Blackstone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had a
big place.
Yeah, and they had an original, and that
Is
comic
that Rasputin's?
I think it's kind of by there.
Right
yeah.
by there. Okay.
Yeah. And they had an original Lone Ranger comic book, and that's where I got the idea from. It's been kind of just been sitting there.
It's awesome.
For a while until I went to you for a cover-up tattoo idea, and then I was like, screw it, dude. I'm going to do my whole arm, and then that's
cool.
where that started.
That's super cool. And it's not where you're going to end because we have a lot more to do. So, okay, let's talk real quick. We'll do a nice little quick interview. This will be the last interview, so we might as well do it correct. But correct in about 10 minutes so we can get to the questions and entertain you, ladies and gentlemen. Mostly ladies, and typically that's totally fine with me. So we're going to get into Andre, who he is, and just a little background. I'm excited about this because even though we've known each other for a while now, it's all been through professional or the shop environment.
Yeah.
So to get some of your background, I know enough about you to at least be curious, and that'll be fun for everybody else to hear about it too. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, I want to say hello to everybody. Of course, the OGs. We got Lenore on here. What's up, Lenore? Dambry, of course. Christy. What is up? Good to see you guys. Kim, as always, I love you. And since I'm talking about Kim and love and things, I just have to say on the last episode, this is episode 100, so I've said this over 100 times. Wherever you are, wherever you're at, just make your mind that's a fact because I've said it every single episode.
Cornbread cowboy.
She's my absolute favorite client, and she doesn't believe me, and she doesn't watch this shit. But sometimes her daughter does, and she relays the message. And I say it to her every time because she's like, I'm not your favorite. You say that to everybody. I'm like, no, I don't.
Oh, she gets it.
So, yeah. Okay. So thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow watchers, Artistic Freedom family. For all of you in the background that are not saying anything, that's fine, but I'm going to block you. So say something, get in the comment section. Let's make this episode worth it. We're going to probably go for a good at least hour and a half tonight. See if we can't wear Andre out and you guys. Of course, as always, you guys know. Fuck yeah! Those are super cool. I told them I'd do a whole episode where they just send flags, and I just. Fuck yeah! I would love that for like an hour.
Yeah.
That would be cool. So anyway, thank you all of you for being on here. Heather, good to see you. I'm glad you're here now. The Grinder, that's really uncomfortable that it says The Grinder and it's a picture of a dog because I know that that's my mom and I think she's on my nephew's account. But hello, mother. I love you and I'm glad you're on here. Okay, let's see here. Amanda, what's up? Thanks for being on here. Ooh, we got some serious flags. Matter of fact, let's just do this. We're going to do this episode right. You guys ready? Okay. So I just like to click on the flags and let them fly on the screen. Here we go. More, thank you. It gives me an opportunity to keep my...
The best anthem.
It is.
The only anthem.
Yeah, what other anthem is it? I have listened to other people's.
None comparable.
Fucking boring.
Yeah.
Super boring.
When you watch the Olympics, you're like, all right, get on with it.
Yeah. It's like super boring. Okay, Elizabeth, what's up? Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for the flags. And I appreciate you guys. If you want to send some flags, now would be the time. You have 40 seconds, so let's do this. Good kid. I'm glad to hear that. My mom said she can't figure out how to change it back to her account. That's okay. I'm glad that you're on here. This is last episode, Mom. 100. We did it. So you guys keep it PG-13. Okay, so we're going to talk. Send the flags if you guys want to now. I'll bring them up on the screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about Andre. And so, Andre, why don't you tell who is the man behind the stash? Who's the myth?
Very simple.
Is it? Okay.
But no, I grew up in Fairwell and graduated out of Kerman in 2012.
Country boy.
Very. I joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school. Probably a couple of weeks out of high school.
18?
Yeah. I'd probably just turned 18. And then I did 5 years, 3 deployments. I was an aircraft mechanic on F-18s. Loved that, and didn't even know that I was going to do that when I joined. I just joined openly, and they just stuck me right in that spot.
I'm turn the line up a little.
Yeah, and then just followed that route, working on aircraft ever since 2017, since I got out.
So you went in right away working on aircraft.
Sort of. So we do all the boot camp and the Marine Corps combat training and all that stuff that we know that everyone does. And then for the longest time after that, they didn't have a job for me picked out yet. So they were just saying, 0311 infantry, which I was cool with too. I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
Some infantry action.
Yeah, and I was like, cool, all right. And then I finally got to Camp Pendleton to do my combat training. Well, the grunts did their own training, and then I went with the other guys. And I was like, well, I thought I was going to go with them. They're like, no, you're going to be working on, it was aviation, hydraulics, mechanic, or something like that. And I was like, what the hell is that?
They did some tests on you and found out you're a little too smart.
Something, dude. I don't know. I hope.
That has to be what it is. I mean, they're like, this guy's got to be on aircraft. If they trust you to work on aircraft and not be infantry, they're like, let's go.
So, yeah, I just did that for 6 weeks. I didn't know where any of the training was. Nobody that I could talk to there at the time knew what it was. And then they gave me a plane ticket to Pensacola, Florida, and then flew out that night. It ended up in Florida, and that's where they do the bulk of the aircraft training They call it A school, which is your first initial training. I was there for about 6 months, so this took me into 2013. Graduated there, went to Virginia for 6 weeks for specialized training on F-18s, and then pushed me right back out to the fleet in San Diego, and that's where I was stationed for the rest of that time.
Are F-18s, are they still kind of the big dog compared to like the 15s and other jets? Like right now we have the Super Hornet, right?
Yeah, so the ones I was working on was a smaller version of the Super Hornet.
Okay.
Now those came out in like 1981. Man, they're old by now, and they're
Right.
phasing them out for the F-35s. But now the Super Hornet is still hanging around and that's what I do now.
Okay.
So,
those
keeping those up in the sky. Yeah.
What's that flag? What's the flag one that flies out of our station?
That's an
here?
F-15.
Is it 15?
Yeah, and that's the one that did they have a bunch of pictures of it online doing
Okay.
the flying over the Dodger game or something
Nice.
like that. Yeah.
I just saw it actually up close for the first time at the airport recently, and I finally got to. You can tell from far away it's painted, but you can't really see it. I finally saw it up close, and I was like, "That's just so freaking cool, dude. That's so cool."
Yeah, the one thing that amazes me about those pictures that you see on the posters is that like the jets look clean.
Right.
You're like, oh. And then you see them in person. You're like, what the hell is this fucking
Yeah.
thing? You know,
Crusty.
nobody washed this damn thing.
I mean, they are flying through the air,
But yeah, they are flying.
especially in
800,
California,
900 miles an hour.
right in the valley. Heather's on here. She's saying F-18s is what Justin's working on right now. Justin actually was here for a while, but they're
Justin
now.
Porter. I think I know that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. They just moved out of state, but they
Texas.
were here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Didn't you know who he is? So
Yeah,
what's up, Heather?
she should ask him about the mystery machine patch I gave him. See if he remembers it.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. You got some homework. Let's see if we can get that answer as soon as possible. That'll be interesting. Let's see. Dana says that I'm mad. I started watching 96. I have to binge old episodes now. So here's the thing: 100 episodes times 2 hours times the last 2 years. There's plenty of me to go around.
2 years.
Yeah. So go enjoy. It'll take you a while. What's up, Ian? Thanks for being on here. Another OG. Ian is actually the one with the dinosaur sleeve. If you haven't seen the posts,
I think so.
Super detailed, super cool stuff. Okay, so let's go back to you working on the jets, going to you said North Virginia.
I said Virginia.
Okay, Virginia.
Yeah, NAS Oceana is where that was.
North Carolina, North Virginia. What did I say?
North Virginia.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a north part of Virginia.
There is. Yeah, there is North Virginia.
I've never seen it.
There's a North Virginia for sure.
I wanted to get out of there as fast as I could.
Okay, so yeah, let's start. Let's pick up back right there.
See,
That's awesome. That's super cool. So let's pick up there and keep going.
So yeah, did my time in San Diego. That's where I met my wife. My wife was also in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
But she was loading bombs on the aircraft. So
cool.
I was an engine mechanic and fuel cell mechanic, and then she was loading the bombs.
Wait, how did you meet her? Not while loading bombs.
Because
that would.
I was checking her out when she was loading the bombs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, look at who the hell.
So that's how you met her.
That's how I seen her.
Okay.
We didn't talk we hadn't talked, but we officially met. Is we had duty together, and that's when I got to talk to her and know her.
Okay.
And then following that, that's when we built a relationship of obviously, and now we're married now. Been married for 3 years, and then we have 2 kids together and everything else. Yeah.
Little feisty fuckers, huh?
Oh yeah.
My favorite story you've told me about your kids is your daughter headbutting your son and just staring him down.
Yeah, like
That's so
an absolute
cool.
predator. Like it's just ridiculous.
That's awesome.
And they're
That's
always
cool.
like that, from when they open their eyes to when they close them. They're probably like that in their sleep. I just don't stick around the room to find
Fucking
out.
hell yeah.
That's my favorite sound effect, by the way. Yeah, so you told me a lot of stories about your family and your kids and some of your experiences. What are some of the things that I don't know? Because obviously the audience here for sure would know. Some of the stuff you've experienced, let's say talking about the Marine Corps, some of the stuff that maybe is interesting but isn't something you share a lot, or something that you find personally very interesting that maybe not a lot of people know about.
Specific about the Marine Corps, or just how the one thing that surprised me, and that's very interesting that not a whole lot of people see, is that like the amount of effort and logistics and everything else that goes into literally almost everything.
Right.
And specifically about the Marine Corps, like we're always ready to go within 6 hours. Within something happening in 6 hours, everything's ready to go.
Okay.
And
that you mean everything like straight, like
we're ready to go. Yeah, like that's it. We got everything ready.
Okay.
I thought that was horseshit. When I first joined, I was like, yeah, bullshit. That's like a recruiting poster.
Right. Like we're on top of it, but they are.
Yeah, but we are. There's been a couple times coming home from a deployment, and we're stopped in Guam. I think this is around 2015, uh, two South Korean soldiers that were doing patrols along the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, 38th parallel, whatever they call it, between North and South Korea.
Okay.
They had stepped on a couple landmines that North Koreans had placed on the south side.
Okay.
There's a lot of that going on there that nobody really knows. And when that happened, it was like instant lockdown, and we were about to fly back to Japan, draw weapons and gear, and be in North Korea, like within
hours.
within a couple hours.
Wow.
Like there's planes already ready to go. Our planes were ready to go. Like it was quick.
That's interesting.
And you finally get to see that.
What's that like then? Like for you, just experiencing that.
At the time, being a young dude, I was like, let's go. I was ready to go. I was pumped. Right. I was also drunk as shit when they told me.
Okay.
Because it's Guam and everybody's partying,
Right.
So they caught me.
What were you drinking in Guam? Do you remember?
I don't.
No,
dude.
No way.
Everything that I could get my hands on. But yeah, it was intense to see how that came down so quick, and especially my first deployment being in the Middle East and getting to see a lot of things happening in the Middle East during Inherent Resolve and fighting ISIS and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing all that play out and then watching the news, I'm like, man, there's so much more shit going on right now that nobody knows about.
Yeah, and they never will.
No.
Because there's just too much action.
It's just too much for one place to cover, and it's just a lot going on in the world.
Sure.
That's what opened my eyes originally to what the world actually is, vice me being in Fireball and Kerman thinking I knew what the world was.
That the world's always this calm and cool and everything's good.
Yeah, it's never this way. No.
So it's interesting because I've heard a lot of people overseas, specifically, I don't know if you've ever seen any of my episodes with my cousin Dan, who's just retired from the Navy of, I think, 28 years and as a Master Chief in the Navy, and so is his wife, and has a lot of overseas experience. And he's like, people just have no idea. Americans have no idea.
Yeah.
And in some ways, that's a victory.
Yeah, I would say so. It just, there's so much shit to worry about here too. Right. Add that on top, dude, that'd be impossible to think that you would ever be comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just like some things I'd rather just not know.
I can totally understand.
People say it's ignorant or whatnot, but I'd just rather not know.
Right. You only have a short life to live, so you can.
I'd rather not be worried about that stuff and just do my thing.
Amanda's on here saying thank you for your service.
It's no problem.
We have to stay in contact somehow, Lenore says. I don't know if she... Oh, I almost banned her on accident. Lenore, we have to stay in contact somehow. Yeah, social media, online, and in the shop. We'll tattoo the shit out of you. And Andre has an Instagram. I don't know if we should... I don't know if we should tell everybody to go follow you, but you can.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. So it's actually tagged in the Facebook, or I'm sorry, the Instagram post. If you guys want to see it, it's in our story. So Barkus is on here. Barkus is rad. Barkus, I'm glad you're with us. I took your near-death experience, very difficult. I know nobody cared about me and everybody was worried about you, but it was really hard for me, Barkus, okay? She says, my husband was a Marine aircraft mechanic. He worked on AV-8B Harriers.
Yeah, they're probably in there's only in a couple places, those things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Yuma or Cherry Point.
Interesting. So Barkus, thanks for saying that. Let's see if I'm not missing anything. And Brittany Alexis, thanks for joining us on here, of course. There we go. Profile picture, big screen is sexy AF. That's awesome. Okay, so let me find out here. I'm going to give everybody an applause just for joining us. Thank you guys so much. It's always just cool to have everybody on here. But again, let's talk a little bit about your experience again. You're talking about from Guam, getting flown in. Do you say to Japan or from Japan to?
We were flying from Japan to Guam, coming home.
Right.
And then in that incident, it got called out like, I think there was like the last hour that we were supposed to leave. They were like, all right, we're not doing that.
Right.
So we called it down and everybody kind of like was like,
yeah, dang.
Yeah. Because everyone in the Marine Corps, no matter who they are before they joined or whatnot, like that's what they want to do. Everyone's like-minded in that aspect of, I joined this branch or any branch, to eventually fight eventually, and everybody wants to do that. So
she said Cherry Point for training and then Yuma.
Yeah, there it is.
There you go. And so in regards to Marines, because I think a lot of people, especially us Americans, are very aware of like the sort of camaraderie and like the brotherhood of Marines, right? Like we've seen movies, but we've also all been probably friends, family, relatives, or personally people who have been in the service that have seen that play out. Can you tell me your example? Like, is there some stuff that people just totally get wrong about the Marines and some things they just simply don't know that you're aware?
So a lot of movies, a lot of Marines aren't as motivated as they are in the movies, and not all of us have high and tights.
Okay.
It's kind of surprising to some people that most of them are pretty normal. Mm-hmm. You can, when you're in the Marine Corps, you can see a Marine because there's only 3 haircuts we can get, and there's only one way we can wear a civilian attire and everything else. But,
Okay.
so you can tell that guy's a Marine, but for the most part, not every single one of them's a mindless robot killer
Right.
that is portrayed in most movies and everything else, where they're just like, where someone says, "Go kill that guy."
Right.
We're like, "What?" A lot of us have our own thoughts, our own minds, and everything else that we have with us from before, whether you joined later or right after high school, whatever. And we're all just normal people inside this branch doing other things, And that's also another thing that plays out too, where not every Marine can beat the shit out of everybody, That's false. I've gotten my ass whooped a lot of times,
Okay. Yep.
And it's not because I thought I was a Marine I could whip this guy's ass, but that's just not the way it is.
Right.
We're normal people.
Still just humans.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I guess it's interesting you say that, because I wouldn't have thought of it that way. That you're still getting 18-year-old boys from
exactly
some country town,
and they're training them. And the another cool thing about that is that a lot of people in the Marine Corps are from almost the same backgrounds.
Poor,
yeah, poor. Like I was growing up. Sometimes they have broken homes. Where some guys were orphans, or they grew up with their grandparents only. And
Okay.
I grew up with a single mom in the house with 2 younger brothers. And that was kind of my thing. And you talk to other guys in the Marine Corps, and just about almost all of them have that same story. So they just kind of drawn to the Marine Corps for some reason. And that comes into that camaraderie question that you had earlier about, like how tight everybody is in there. And we are pretty tight. Like, a good majority of my friends that I made while I was in the Marine Corps were still like tight.
Right.
No matter where we are in the world, thanks to social media and thanks to everything else like that, and phone calls and everything else, we're always, just like that.
Because I do hear that a lot from a lot of people, especially specifically from the Marines,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily from the Navy or the Air Force or anything else like that. It seems like when it comes to Marines, from a civilian's perspective, that's the thing that stands out for me the most, that I catch on to people saying that, like, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah, and it's such a small branch. So it's, out of the grand scheme of everything, there's only 180,000 people in the Marine Corps.
What to you, what makes that true about the brotherhood part? Like, why do you think that's different?
I think everybody suffers the same. Coming from, their prior life they wanted to escape something to get in. And then when you get in, you're all doing the same training. You're all going through the same horse shit. Okay. You're experiencing the exact same thing, no matter what job you're in. It's just so relatable to everywhere else. And even guys that didn't know each other while they were in, if you meet a Marine out in town. Like if I were to meet, that's how I met my friends now. Like my friend group now that I always talk about. I didn't know any of those guys while they were in at all. We served there at different times, and now we're like this.
Yeah.
Where I could call them up anytime I want, and they'll come over and help me out, or I'll go over there to help them out, and this is the way it is.
So when you say the suffering part, like, would you say that it's because they're all just completely thrown in the shit in terms of like being equals and like, here's your job, here's what you have to do. You have
exactly, and everybody starts from the bottom.
Right.
There's no, I know this guy. He's, the governor's son. We're gonna treat him right. No, they're gonna treat that guy extra hard.
Okay.
And it's just the way it is. You get beat down all the time, and everyone gets beat down, no matter what rank you are.
It's interesting.
I don't think anybody has it easy in the Marine Corps.
Because Marines, the best I can relate, again, as a civilian, is being in construction work. I've done some really hairy construction work. Some of my friends are still in it, doing the same things I used to do. And even as a young dude, I was like, this is hell. Some of the stuff we would do, like, for example, big, huge power plant shutdowns, people, I don't think quite realize that these power plants, especially in the San Joaquin Valley, they are hell. They're hell. They're ugly. They're dirty. They're stinky. They're hot, especially in the summer. They're just
not in the great areas.
Mendota out there in those areas. Like,
I'm familiar.
Yep. So we'd go there and we'd be there for 16-hour days, 6 off, 14 on, 4 off, 16 on, 8 off, back into 2 15s, back to back. And you're like, this is for a month. I did that one time. I mean, I did it a lot off and on, but this one specific month I had no days off. And I think the longest I had between shifts was 8 hours. So I'd just typically sleep in my car.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was so delirious. I'm like, hey boss, I'm literally a risk to myself right now. I can't even, I don't even know what side of the road I'm on. And he goes, oh shit, you haven't even had a day off. He goes, hey, I need you to go back though. It's a shutdown. It's mandatory. I go, look at the schedule. And he looks at the schedule and he goes, farmer, go home. I was like, yeah, thank you. So, but the thing is that builds something between you and your crew.
Yeah. It's like that misery loves company type thing, because there's been plenty of days where it's just, we come in at 4 in, and our schedule is just based off how these aircraft flew. And if they're all broken, we're not leaving till they're fixed.
Yeah.
So that could be 11 o'clock at night sometimes, 3 in, come in, leaving at 11 o'clock at night. And, you can't really just leave.
Sure.
You know,
You got to get your job
you
done.
sign that contract away. You know, you're there when you're there for everything they need you to do, and that's it.
So you would definitely say that, like, when it comes to that suffering part and everybody being thrown in at the same level, that's probably the
That
glue.
builds that glue. Yeah, yeah, I think so.
That's
Because we always
interesting.
laugh about the stories now. You know, we talk about we share. You know, even though my friends now, we've all had different jobs. You know, one of them was an Amtrak guy. I was, you know, in aviation. Buddy of mine was a grunt. You know, all these stories would come together, and we kind of just laugh at each other's stories about the horse shit that we were going through. You know,
Interesting.
yeah.
And then, so not knowing them in the service, seeing your friends now, and having them here outside as civilians, like, what is like, in terms of relationship, other than maybe, like I said, that fact that you guys were all thrown in together, like, what would you say is like something you guys have that are just it's so common? Like, there obviously, it can't just be 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever we were in this situation. There has to be other attributes that they've carried with them or whatever. What are those things?
You know, I think it goes back to just how everyone started, because most of them, you know, they're from a difficult background anyway, and that's just the way, you know, kind of just relate in that kind of way.
So it's really just
it's kind of like an unspoken thing, unthought of thing.
It's like from the same cut, kind
yeah,
of.
and it's like a natural draw.
Okay.
You know, it's just something. It's very hard to explain how it is unless you were in that.
So recruiters know where to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Straight up, like,
yeah.
They know what high school to go
yeah,
to.
I mean, if you go to the high schools out in Fireball, Mendota, maybe even Kerman, and you go to like the counseling offices and stuff like that, you know, they track each student about where they're going to go, you know, where they're going to go to college or where they're going to do this or that, because they talk to the students like, what do you want to do after you graduate? And you know, like 80, I wouldn't say 80. I'm just spitballing the number here, but you know, a good high percentage of those kids that are from those West Side towns end up joining the military.
Sure.
You know,
I did notice that certain schools you would go to, if there's like a graduation or a friend or family or somebody's kid were going to the graduation,
10 of them going to the Marine Corps, 20 going to the Army. Like it's a lot of kids.
And then you go to the nice part of town, nicer, quote unquote, part of the town, and 3.
Yeah,
3
but
kids.
it's that privilege. It's that experience that the military will give you, even if you know, because a lot of people don't have a good time in the Marine Corps or the services, right? They get screwed over quite a bit because you're not really getting the most quality people. Some of the most quality people, right? You're getting some good people, but sometimes there's bad people that join, and you know, they don't know how to treat people. They don't know how to do people right. They don't know how to like do anything right, really. You know, and they end up just screwing someone over so they could stay afloat.
Sure.
And that would hurt. That actually hurts someone in that, you know, because when you get punished in the military, it's real heavy punishments federally.
Interesting.
And especially if someone's trying to stay in, you know, that one thing could really hurt their time in.
Okay.
And there's no explanation for it, right? You can't just say, hey, well, this guy was an asshole, you know, and he screwed me over because he didn't like me.
Sure.
He didn't like how I looked. He didn't like that I worked hard and it made him look like, you know, shit and all this other stuff. You know, they don't see that. They don't ask that. They say, well, you know, you got in trouble this one time. Sorry.
Sure.
And it really builds a lot of resentment for some people, you know, and then some people, you know, especially like women in the Marine Corps and stuff like that. I can't speak for women in other branches, but women in the Marine Corps, you know, a lot of them have it tough, dude.
I can
real
imagine.
tough, you know, because there's not a whole lot of women in the Marine Corps either.
Sure.
There's out of 180,000, I think there's only 4,000 women in the Marine Corps
compared to the Navy or Air Force, even Army. There's a lot more women.
Yeah,
in
there's
the
only
Army
like, you know, 4,000 women in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a very low number.
And you know, they are compared to dudes all the time. My wife says it good. She says I had to work double for almost less.
Right.
Where it didn't matter. Like she's like, I had to run 100 miles, but I would always still have 1 mile to run. Whereas someone that's a dude would do half of what I do and would get all the credit for it.
Right.
You know.
And well, let's talk about that real quick before we do, because I want to touch on like you and meeting your wife and how all that transpired. Because just seeing her load bombs, I'm sure there's more to it. But, although that would be actually cool.
Yeah, she loves it, dude. She was like all for it. She was 100% for it.
So Brittany's asking, what's the best place to travel? Or I'm sorry, what is the best place you travel to or you traveled to in the military? That's a good question. I like that question.
So it's kind of funny, but the best place I've been to was Key West, Florida.
Okay.
Dude, like that place, like I
my friend that's his favorite spot.
I love Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, he's in Key West and everything else. Like, you know, it's Key West, Florida. It's cool. But then when I got to visit there, I go, yeah, dude, 100%.
Okay.
I would live out here. They got
beautiful.
They got iguanas running around, roosters. They got all sorts of shit.
So, just no hills.
Yeah, no hills.
No hills. I heard that the tallest point in Florida is like 300 feet above sea level.
Probably something like that.
I can't do it. I don't care how beautiful it is. Or
I like tropical areas more. So anywhere that we were tropical, I loved it.
Yeah.
So Indonesia was very tropical weather. I loved it there. I loved Guam. I loved Hawaii. Okinawa, Japan was very tropical and humid. I like that. That was all like fun places to be.
Interesting. So somebody's asking if you can answer pretty quickly. Have you ever known someone that went AWOL?
No. So
No.
luckily I didn't.
You mean you're lucky you didn't know
I
somebody?
didn't know anybody, and I didn't do it. No, because many a times I wanted to do it, but no, I didn't. I have seen people lose their minds though.
Yeah.
And then get out that way.
Sure.
It's just one of those things. People find out quickly that they can't hack it, and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
You don't know until you do it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's pretty common too, because it's impossible to know until you do it.
Until you do it.
And so these people might think, oh, I'm made for it. And
yeah.
They're just
but
not.
AWOL, no. Thankfully, I haven't seen that.
Oh, where's my sound effect? I'm losing it. I'm on.
America, fuck yeah!
So Brittany says, what is the most impressive thing you've seen a woman do in the military?
So me being in the aviation side, probably load bombs.
That's what I was gonna say. It's wife loading bombs is probably one of the coolest things.
Like cranking rounds in the gun,
okay.
Because they have that huge cannon in the front of the F-18s. It's like 20 millimeter cannon.
Okay.
And they have to hand crank those with like a speed handle. So they have this huge speed handle they stick into the side of the gun, and there's a belt that's on this cart and has all the rounds on links loaded.
You have to feed.
And they feed it in there, and you just got to crank them out. I think my wife did like 1,000 rounds nonstop, and it's like it's not like every crank a round goes in. It's like 2, 3. It's very long.
Right.
And it takes a lot of dude.
That's pretty.
It's all in the technique, she says. But
that's super cool.
That was cool. I was like, I don't want to do that shit.
So there you go, Brittany. That's the most impressive thing you've seen a woman do in the military, which is wife loading bombs and rounds. Curtis says,
"Yeah, Florida, dude. That's where it's at."
That's what I was talking about. Curtis says, "Florida is the shit. Land of the big booty." We're going, Curtis. If you didn't know, as a matter of fact, Andre, we should all go.
Key West, dude. I'm telling you,
yep,
dude.
Let's roll.
Hit the Wall Street.
Yep. Okay, let me see here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Brody says it would be cool to hear his wife's story. Maybe one day that's possible. Let's see here. I'm gonna catch up with everybody. That is pretty cool. She said, "Super chat, Dambria. Thanks so much, of course, for sending it. As always, I love it. She doesn't like getting thanks for sending that super chat. That's awesome. I'll actually credit that one to Andre. So thank you, Andre.
Hey.
And thanks for joining me today. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, no problem. It's an honor.
Were you nervous at all, or excited, or just curious?
I was excited, man.
Yeah.
First time doing something like this in this format. But it's just a conversation, so I'm pretty good at doing
Probably
that.
not the hardest thing you've ever done.
No.
You're a natural at conversations. Kim I know has met you. You've met Kim in the shop before.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it so many times because as a business owner, I'm always looking for people when I'm hiring them to like the ability for them to connect pretty quickly with people.
How personable they are,
because that's so necessary especially in our industry or any service business sort of industry. And for you to walk in the shop, get tattooed, anybody walking by or that comes in the room, they don't leave for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And I've watched you do that like a magician. Like you're really good at that. So I knew that this would feel, at least to some degree, somewhat natural for you.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that you're here. That's cool. Justin, of course, what's up, man? Justin, I appreciate you. And I've thought about keeping the live stream available just for you. Maybe every day I'll just jump on if you want to keep sending us super chats. But I really do truly appreciate it and appreciate you guys being on here. It's just super fucking awesome. So
my mic's blocking my face.
Fucking hell yeah.
Yeah, sit wherever you want, man. Make yourself cozy. Justin, again, thank you for that. That's super cool.
I'm a new guy to this,
Justin's actually the record holder for Super Chat, so shout out to Justin. Brody says, I don't know if the mic keeps blocking his face. She wants to see you. That's what it is. Okay, let's keep going here. Wow, Super Chat, the biggest one. Oh, second to biggest one. Let's just keep it up. From Rochelle, congratulations, episode 100. She's sending $100. She got close to it, so that's really cool. Thank you, sis, so much for that. That is super awesome. You're super awesome.
Fucking hell yeah.
We're making some money. Maybe we'll just keep this episode going on.
Dude,
let's see if you guys can keep up. See if y'all could keep up. We didn't even have to do OnlyFans.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We'll see how that money looks if
the money's looking right.
The money's right.
I'll do the OnlyFans.
Yeah. What's not for sale?
Everything's for sale.
Everything's for sale. The right price. Christy, you already know. Ian says, thanks to your wife, you and your wife for your service.
Yeah, we're happy to do it.
And oh my God, Rochelle, fucking hell yeah. Yep, that's right, Dambria.
Fucking hell yeah.
Okay. Let's get it on. Last show. I'm in New York right now. Justin's in New York. What are you doing in New York, Justin? Just out of curiosity. He says it's cold. I don't doubt it. Damir says, Christy needs those pants, Josh. Well, y'all been talking about it, but I don't see any money. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your wife and how you guys met in the military, and kind of expand on that, whatever you're willing to share. You don't have to get too personal, but
so you know, she's from Michigan originally.
Michigan girl and a Kerman boy.
Yeah.
Or Fireball.
That's funny, isn't it?
Is it Fireball?
Ball, yeah. Baugh.
Everybody always says Fireball.
Yeah, and they relate it to the whiskey. And I'm like,
it's not even close.
No. They always say yeah. You know,
Hell yeah.
I'll agree with them. But yeah, no, she's from Michigan. A place called she grew up around this place called Tecumseh, Michigan.
Okay.
And I think she actually graduated out of there and lived around in that area. And I think everyone in Michigan does this, but they have the mitten. And you know, she's from down.
Oh, right, because
in this area, yeah.
Okay.
So,
it's a pretty big state.
Yeah,
Michigan's huge.
Very expansive, and not a whole lot in it. You know, they're
surfing,
just little hubs here.
I heard you can surf.
Yeah, on the Great Lakes.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just call it the beach. You know,
because
we're going to the beach. And it's like the lakes.
I did not know there's surfing, and somebody told me that when they came here from there, and I'm like, I was blown.
Yeah,
away.
like all water sports there. It's a big thing.
Huge. I would not have expected that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I didn't know a whole lot about Michigan until I met her.
Right.
So she's from Michigan, got recruited out of there. You know, kind of did the same route. I think she knew she was going to be aviation ordnance, and they kind of told her, yeah, you're going to be loading bombs on aircraft. So she's like, yeah, hell yeah, that sounds cool.
Okay.
And she's a pretty intense person, so it only just lines up with the way she was going to do it. You know, she's I think she's 3 or 4 years younger than I am. So I was already, you know, in the Marine Corps. I already done 2 deployments by the time she got to the Marine Corps.
Right.
By the time I met her. So I met her around 2015, 2016 is when I met her.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, we were on duty together. That's when I met her, and we actually got to talk a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I seen her before, and I told my friend, I said, "Damn, dude, look at that," you know.
Stars aligned.
Yeah, I was like, dude, look at her.
The stars aligned, and Andre found his own.
But just never had the opportunity to talk to her. Yeah, dude, it's exactly
That's actually a really cool story. I always like to think of stories as bullet points. Just as a storyteller myself, I always try to compartmentalize things that way naturally. So when people tell me stories like that, I just see it as like, and I do that a lot of times with my life, like on vacations and stuff. I found myself bullet pointing my experiences, because when you bullet point things, it's like really cool. Like when you just say, oh, what'd you do this weekend? Well, I watched this lady load bombs up into a plane, and then she was putting rounds into the machine gun, and then, you know, I went and did this workout, and then we ended up talking, and then a year later, 2 years later, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I married that girl, and then we did this, and now we have kids.
Essentially how it happened, you know. We had talked a little bit. She didn't know who I was first, right? So she hadn't
you weren't loading bombs.
She hadn't seen me, and we were working opposite shifts. So she was on nights, I was on days, but we had this one day on duty together, and that's where we were talking. So then she had added me on Facebook right after that, and then we were kind of just messaging back and forth. And we really got talking when we were in Indonesia. So our squadron was in Indonesia doing, you know, some kind of like joint exercise thing with the Indonesian Air Force.
Okay.
You know, we were there. And then we had, you know, we worked the same shift, so we had more time to hang out and stuff like that. And I had seen her because in the hotel that we stayed at, there was like a place where they do pedicures and manicures and stuff like that.
Okay, like a salon,
nail salon type-ish thing, you know.
Spa. There you go.
Yeah, you know.
I've never been to a spa, but I want to go to a spa.
Yeah, so I went there to that one. And,
wait, you went there? You got your toes done because she was there?
No, so I didn't know she was in there.
Okay.
So one of my friends said that because, you know, our feet are so destroyed, dude. Like, they're disgusting. Those poor Indonesian women. But they were like, my friend's like, dude, you need to go in there. They'll massage your feet. They'll take care of them. Feels so good. I feel like a new man. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go try that out. So when I went in there, she was in there by herself, and I was in there by myself. So I was trying to like strike up a conversation.
You're trying to be cool.
Yeah, you know, I was like,
pressure was high.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a like, spa already, dude. I'm in the losing hand already.
Yeah,
sober. You know, I'm tight, and so I'm trying to like strike up a conversation, and you know, it kind of wasn't going too well for me at that time. You know, and I was like, damn, dude, I'm so awkward.
You needed to be drinking.
Yeah, so I think she had bet me that I wouldn't paint my toenails.
Oh shit. There we go.
You know, and I was like, oh shit. like, don't bet me, dude, because
I got this.
Because I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I painted them like pink, and the Indonesian ladies were like, "Are you sure about this, dude? Like, what's wrong with you?" Like, they were asking me, like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude.
That's great.
This is a game plan. You guys don't understand it." But that's how it started. So
Wow.
yeah, I painted my toenails pink, and that's when we really started talking and like.
That's
I
interesting.
guess semi-dating, if you will.
You know what she was doing? Testing to see if you'd be a good
Yeah.
dad.
Maybe.
That's what she was
Yeah.
doing. She
So
might not even know
she was
that.
playing chess, and I was playing checkers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's. I mean, what were you like? 20 something?
At the time, I was 22.
Yeah. I mean, that is the game. Girls are playing chess and you're playing checkers.
Yeah, and I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah. You're just trying to get a crown and she's trying to checkmate. So
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about anything else.
that's awesome. All right. So so we don't have to get too far into your story, and we want to get to some of the questions and entertain everybody. But I do have one more question for you here in a second. Also, we have 34 people watching and only 17 thumbs ups. So let's get those thumb ups a little bit higher. If you guys are watching this, jump on here. Get into the comment section, I guess, is where maybe I've never been on that end. But get in there and send us some emojis. There we go. 18. Now let's keep going. Also, if you're watching this now, stay tuned. I would like to see, this would be really cool, if we could pass 40 viewers at once, all at one time. And by the way, it doesn't always count the people watching from Facebook. So if you guys want to jump on YouTube, if you're watching from Facebook, do that. Let's see if we can get this number of viewers up past 40. So if you're watching now, stay tuned. Play it in the background. Finish cooking. Paint your nails. Whatever you're doing in your bedroom by yourself. I don't need to know. But keep us on the stream, and let's see if we can maybe break a record tonight. Because we've already broken a super chat record. So thanks to you guys. Thanks, Rochelle. Thanks, Justin, and everybody for doing that. But let's just keep it going. We're going to be on here tonight having a good time and getting the comments and the questions that were sent.
Oh, yeah.
Kim says, love the story. It's beautiful. Love the first polish sweet story. Or love it first polish.
Yeah, love it
Okay.
first polish.
I almost said, polish or Polish? Wait, how would you spell Polish if that's Polish?
It's English, man.
I think it's the same thing.
It's like live and live.
Live and yes. I get confused all the there, and there. Haley, thanks for jumping on here. What's up? Good to see you. She says, hey, brother, congrats on 100 episodes. Keep killing it. Haley, this is a 100th episode, and it's the last one. So I will keep killing it, and thank you for your support. Also, I hope all is well. I think you're still across the country and living life almost overseas, but hope all is well. Dominic, what's up? Thanks for jumping on here. And, of course,
America, fuck yeah!
Landy, also good to see you. Landy actually sent in quite a few questions, so we'll get to those in a second. Damber says, love it when men show their sensitive, goofy side. It's freaking the most adorable thing. Cool. She's talking about me.
Yeah, you know.
Okay, so I have one more question.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into all these. So with all that being said, obviously it led you to the shop. Can you give me like a brief story about that? Because you did kind of touch on it when we were talking about your tattoo.
Yeah. So you know, I'm a GM truck guy, as you know. So I have a Chevy tattoo of my first truck on my arm.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of hillbilly, rednecky,
it's cool.
whatever.
It's cool.
And I was wanting to get a cover up of that tattoo. I had went to a couple shops and just, you know, idea conflicts, not their fault or whatnot, because I wanted something specific to it. And, you know, they kind of wanted to go to a different route. And that's kind of not my thing. And I believe you weren't the last shop, but you kind of were the last shop, because I had a couple more shops that I was going to go visit. But as soon as I walked into yours, I kind of just was like, this is the place, dude.
Yeah. Right spot.
This is the right spot.
That's cool.
This is where this is going to happen. And I even changed my mind from the cover up. I said, screw it. I'm going to leave the tattoo, but I want to do something completely different. And that's when we kind of just vibed off that Lone Ranger idea on the first tattoo.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went from there. I was like, that's the vibe right there. Because I wanted something, you know, it's kind of like, I wanted to go somewhere, but didn't have a direction to go. And I was kind of just like, I want to do a sleeve arm tattoo, but I just don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
Sure.
And I don't want to look back at it years later and be like, man, this was dumb. You know, like, I don't know why the hell I did this,
Right.
you know? So,
And that's common.
very
actually.
common. Yeah.
And it's not common with my
'Cause that's what I
clients.
was doing with my arm tattoo,
Right.
right? I was looking for a cover up, but you know, as soon as I looked at your Instagram and everything else, and we kind of just conversated for like, you know, it was probably about an hour, dude. We were
Yeah.
there for a while.
Right. Because I was pumped about your ideas, and you could probably tell.
Yeah.
So you're
Because
instantly like,
I think
"Oh, this is
at
cool."
that time, nobody had to really come to you for something like that,
Right.
that particular thing. And I remember you telling me that you're like, dude, no one's ever asked me to do something like this. And I was just like, yeah, I trust you.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Somebody is asking if we can see
Yeah.
the Chevy tattoo.
Which one? The Chevy one? Or
Yeah,
the
I think
one-
that's. I think. Wait, where is it? I want to see the tattoo. Yeah, the one she's talking. I think the one she's talking about is the one
Oh,
you were.
yeah.
There we go. Now you guys can see it here.
There's
It's not bad. Nice little
No,
bow
yeah,
tie. Never hurt nobody.
My truck's in the middle. That's not a complete. It has my truck in the middle.
That's cool.
That's the thing about it.
And then let's show them the first one we did.
Yeah.
It's hard with a camera, obviously. Without. Oh, you know what? Let me switch to this one. I can't switch to that one because it turned off.
So this top one here, if I could just rotate my arm.
Yeah, you can kind of see the Lone
It's
Ranger.
The first one that he did.
Super cool.
there.
That's so cool.
And then of course it just goes down all the way down, and pretty soon my arms can be covered. So
I'm excited about that because
yeah, so am I.
the way this is panning out, and even the last session we did when I was literally like dying,
Yeah.
it looks awesome.
Yeah. No, I love
So
it.
that's going to be super fun. If you guys want to see it in detail, you can go to my Instagram and see the horses that I just posted. I think it was like one of my like second or third last posts. So just go on my Instagram. You
I
can
think
see
beginning
it.
of the month, around April 8th.
It was badass, dude. When I posted that picture, I was instantly like, damn, that's wicked.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time I've ever gotten to horses like this. So it was just super detailed and super fun. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to get to the comments for a second. Okay. Dan says, our military women have to work twice as hard as men to get the same results. I've seen it for decades. Dan is the cousin I was telling you about that was a Master Chief in the Navy and just retired.
True story.
His wife is still in the Navy and she's still working hard. Haley says, good old North Fork, Virginia. I guess that's where she's at.
That's right. That's right near Oceana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 10 miles or something like that. It's pretty close.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, just got a 80. What? Okay. I try to read all this, but my dyslexia kicks in and I see such a dynamic thread, but I do what I can. So let's see here. So we showed you guys the tattoos. There we go. Totally want to see the tattoo also. So we did that. Awesome story. I had a similar interaction with Josh. So Ian is very similar because he came in and he told me his ideas and I'm like, bro, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I told him instantly, and I say this almost every episode when he's on here, is it's going to cost a lot of money. And we're not wrong. Ian, congratulations to me. I think you've spent the most on your sleeve than anybody so far. I think we're almost exactly done with one more session. It'll be finished. But man, it's cost a lot of money. And I wasn't wrong when I told him when he came in the first time, but I also told him I'm going to pour my heart into this thing, dude. And he could tell. He's like, and I think the same thing.
That's the thing I noticed, how enthusiastic you were about it and everything else. Cause like I didn't, up until that point, I hadn't ventured in tattoo shops too often. I didn't have that many anyway.
You only had like 3 or so.
Yeah.
That
3.
I knew of.
Yeah. 3.
Okay.
So, seeing you being so enthusiastic about an idea that's coming across your table was really nice to see, because when I would give an idea to someone else, they were kind of like, wow, have you ever thought about doing this too? Like not doing that, but
right,
this over here.
Trying to make it theirs.
And it's like, well, this is my idea. Why are you trying to change the whole thing?
Right. You want someone to find your idea exciting. And that's hard because
not all ideas are exciting. I get that.
To every person.
Exactly.
So like you might have came in and said, hey, I want this. And I'd be like, nah, bro, it's just not really what I want to do. I mean, everybody has different tastes, but sometimes people will message me and say, hey, dude, I got this cover up I want to do, but I want to do like a tribal, but like a new school. And I'm like, dude, it's not 1999 anymore, and I am not doing tribal on you.
Yeah, and I had a Western direction that I wanted to go, and I think I've even told you, like, every time we go in, I go, if you whatever you think would be the vibe of it, because ultimately you're the artist. I'm not an artist by any means at all. I don't know how colors are gonna look on skin or anything. I don't have any experience in that, so I just give you an image, like, this is kind of what I want to do.
Right.
Have fun, just
and that's exactly
knock something out, and then we always do it that way. And every time it's like a home run every time.
The one that gets me, because I love the stuff we've done, especially this dude, the shooter guy, that's so sick. But the one that gets me is when we found that picture of the dude
smoking the cigarette.
It looks like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
it might be, but he's smoking the cigarette, lighting up his face with a dark background. And I was like, oh, dude,
that's gonna be the one. That's the next one.
That's so sick.
Yeah, I told you I saved that image, dude.
So cool.
We need that.
Super cool. Haley says, super close. My husband over at Damn Neck.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what that means. It sounds like code. Elizabeth, let's see. Thanks for sharing your story. Semper Fi. And Elizabeth, by the way, I don't know if you came by today. We closed an hour early because I had to get over here. And somebody came by and one of the girls was like, hey, you locked the door. And the girl showed up right away with red hair. So I don't know if that was you, Elizabeth. I don't know who it was. It could have been any one of us at this point. But whoever showed up at 5 and we're not supposed to be close till 6, I apologize, but nature calls. Ian says over 10K now. Well over 10K now into his harm for sure. I think you might have to double that number, Ian. Okay, wait. Can't wait to see Jurassic Park finished. Me either, Dambria. Thanks for saying that. Okay, let's see. I'm going to scroll down the comments, make sure I don't miss any of you folks. We do have 34 people on here. I'm trying to get to 40. Let's see if that happens, so don't jump off, even if you play us in the background. This is our last episode, and I think it's really cool. We have an awesome guest. We have rad people watching. We're donating a ton of money to a good cause, me. And this is it. This is our last episode. And I told you guys, I wasn't sure when I announced a couple episodes ago that I would do this episode and it would be my last at 100. I meant it. And people are asking, of course, and I kind of responded to whether or not I would do it again. My goal is to not make a decision at all for the summer. I have no plan. And I mean this. I'm not like sitting here going, oh yeah, we're shutting down, a little social suicide kind of thing. I'm not doing that to get attention. I'm doing it for number one is because this is the last time I get to spend it with my kids while they're teenagers.
Of course.
So I'm doing that. And then also too, I've been doing it for 2 years. So I do need a little bit of a break to feel the motivation again, instead of feeling like it's I don't want to make it feel like it's repetitious. So I need to work on that. And also it's a great opportunity because I'm in a space in my life right now for all of you watching and that are excited to see what comes next, because there will be a lot to come next. But this show itself, the format, the way we've been doing it, I'm calling it an end because I need to revamp everything, and I'm gonna sort of what would you call that? Like a transformative mode.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, I want to change and grow and
rebuild.
Rebuild. Yep. So breaking down to rebuild. A lot of people are afraid to do that, and I talked about that a lot during these episodes, and you guys have joined me. So you should understand that what I'm doing is exactly that. I'm tearing it down to rebuild, and sometimes you have to do that. But everybody wants to not do that, and people want to you don't have to tear everything down. Okay. But there are times where things deserve to be let go. And sometimes there are things you love and want. And sometimes they need to go so that you can have the opportunity to
sometimes
build.
like stepping away and then, in the future, if you ever decide to come back, it's kind of like the way to kind of do it.
Sure.
Because, you get kind of wrapped around the axle sometimes. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And it kind of gives you a refresh of that third person perspective.
100%.
Like when you're doing something, you can't figure out a problem, but you ask someone on the outside, what's going on here? And they could tell you exactly what's wrong, but you didn't see it because you were in it.
Yeah, that happens to me the more that happens to me, the more I realize, I love resources. I like people when they're useful in the regards to like real true friends will tell you when you're fucking up.
Yeah.
Because you actually might not see it.
No.
And that's a real friend.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are like, oh, well, I feel good about it. It's like, oh, no. No, you are fucking up. Some people think that's mean, but as long as you're not trying to shame somebody for it necessarily, but you're trying to be constructive, although they might feel shame about it. That's on them. That's what real friends are for. And I've had a few experiences like that. Curtis, if you're still on here, I've had a few experiences like that over the last year of things that other people see that I don't. And I love those moments where it's like, oh shit. Oh, like I feel pretty smart. I got a lot going on. I'm able to accomplish the things I want. I feel like my life's going good. And then somebody points out something, not that I'm necessarily doing wrong, but that I could do remarkably better. And I'm like, dude, that's gold. Thank you so much. So it is kind of that moment for me to be able to step back and see that. So who knows what's going to come of it. But I do mean it when I say that this show's over, and we'll be going for another. I think it's been an hour now. So we're going to take a quick intermission before we get to the comments, and you guys stay put. We're just going to take a few minutes. Actually, let me catch up to the comments real quick so that I know that I didn't miss them. And then we'll take our quick little break. Barker says, I love when Josh gets excited over a tattoo idea. That's how my sleeve is coming along in life. It's freaking awesome, and that's true. Barkus's arm is pretty epic. As a matter of fact, if you guys didn't see the underwater scene that I did with a girl, it looks like she's drowning, but she's just kind of floating underwater. It's a very recent one on my Instagram. You can see that there. It's really, really cool. Landy says, what more are you going to add? I think she might be talking about yours, but we're not going to cover all that. You'll have to just stay tuned in the future. He should definitely do it, Brody. Not me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just catching up on the comments. Donna,
flags.
thanks for being on here, of course.
Fuck yeah!
A quick break. Let's go ahead and do this while you guys send flags. Donna, I appreciate that. Lenore, of course. I love it. You just keep going. Keep going. Yeah, Christy, thank you. You're going to miss us so much, Josh. You're right. I missed a lot of comments. I'm sorry I'm a little behind. I'm catching up right now. Michelle says, I love your reasons for balance. I'm excited for you to spend this time with the kiddos to see what's next. Thank you. And I appreciate that you guys are understanding of it, because I don't want to let you down, but at the same time, we're all human and we got to live our lives. You're reinventing yourself. That's awesome. We all need to do that once in a while. Yes, and I'm ready to start doing that at hyperspeed because I've learned so much over the years, especially with this. This show has taught me something. Like, if y'all have kids, you'll know this, that it probably grew you more than any other thing.
Yeah.
And then and I've said this before on here, that the other thing that grew me was opening a business and having to be a team leader. Not just being on a team where somebody else is the leader. And even though we're all leaders kind of at our own levels, but when you're really the one it's riding on you, you absolutely have to be that leader. And that's grown me just as much as being a parent, but professionally. And then it happened again when I had to start doing this and talking and speaking and being in front of people and keeping it interesting.
Yeah.
The same thing happened again, but it's like higher levels. And I'll let you guys know, it still feels the same. You feel stupid, you feel silly, you feel lost, you feel like an imposter. So just know that at all the levels, you're probably going to somewhat feel that way until eventually you start to realize it's just a lie. It's just a facade. That you'll get over it eventually the more things you do. And since I've done it so many times and reinvented, now it's time to start doing that at hyper speed instead of. So like my goal this year, I should tell you guys this now since this is the last episode. This year, we're well into the year, so I'm a little late. But this year, the word is dominate, and it's a full hostile takeover. So I'm coming back with a vengeance. It isn't going to be light, and it's going to be aggressive, and no more pussyfooting around.
Yeah, you gotta get it when you can.
We got to get it, man. And I'm not getting any younger, so there we go. Okay, so we've pretty much got to everybody's comments. Curtis, thanks for joining us. I hope you don't jump off here. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. So don't go anywhere. If you guys have questions, it'll give you time at this next for the next hour to ask them. So don't go anywhere, and we will see you in just a moment. Here we are. All right. So you folks stayed tight. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to do something that's, I guess you could say, ritualistic. Actually, I like to give you guys a little bit of the satisfaction. There we go. Little ASMR for you.
Good pop.
This is absolutely one of my favorite whiskeys. It's not my favorite whiskey. If you guys don't know, one of my absolute favorite whiskeys is Booker's. And this stuff's pretty, this is hardcore. So I'm going to show you guys what we're doing here. There we go. Not the best lighting, but we got a little bit of Booker's. This is 122 proof, so 61%, and 6 years, 10 months, and 10 days aged. So here we go. Andre, I'll pour your glass first.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, this is what I like to do on my episodes is just enjoy a glass, and I haven't been able to do it for a while because I was under the weather, and this stuff is real, so you do not need a ton. At least I don't. The first time I drank this, I didn't realize the alcohol level, and I had drank whiskey for years, and I was like, wow, that's a big deal. Oh, jet fuel.
That's some good stuff. Dude.
I don't even think it's that harsh.
Clears you out.
Yeah, it clears you out 100%. Oh. What a good.
It's like a glass of wasabi.
There you go.
But no, it tastes good. Man.
It is. It's very delicious. For as strong as it is actually remarkably good. Okay, so we still got Justin on here. Cool. Danbury likes the 120 proof. Cheers, fellas. Thanks for show. You know what? And cheers to you too. I have a lens cover, so don't freak out if you're a camera guy.
No.
I mean, like to do
my
that.
camera on my phone is
broken. That's all good. Okay. Brody is, I think, actually the one who bought this bottle. She has to be because I've never bought a bottle of Booker's. So, Brody, we're enjoying it for you. Okay. I see you guys getting in the comment section, getting a little spicy, commenting and talking back with each other. That's awesome. Sounds like some trips are planned. Super cool. But maybe you'll have to fill me in at some point. Okay, so we're going to get into the questions. I'm going to have a little bit of a surprise for you guys at the end of tonight's episode. So we're going to read off all the questions, and some of them might be directly towards me, but we'll do our best. Andre, just jump in whenever you want.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, some of them might be perfect for you to what? Oh, now I'm getting all kinds of notifications. Okay, here we go. What's going on? Let's get to it. Stupid phone. Don't you hate that sometimes when you send files to different apps and things, scrolling down means you go to the top, but then other ones you scroll up to get to and then I'm like, am I going the wrong way? Just keep it the same. It's like when we read, it's like top left.
There's like an app on my work computer where I have to like
backwards.
Where like I view stuff, but to zoom in, you roll it back, and then
But then to scroll is the other way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So you're like, what? I don't know which way I'm going. I had a computer like that where you would scroll.
I'll like go ham, like, and then it would just go boom, just straight in. And I'm like, oh shit, and I got like back out.
Yeah, it can be very annoying. Okay, let's see here. It should be a lot cooler if they were. To it and smell beautiful. Almost killed. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I'm trying to read your guys', of course, comments, but let's get into the questions because you guys sent in questions. We're going to answer them, and it's not in the correct order. We're just going to do it anyway. However I bring it up on this phone of mine. Okay, so some of them aren't questions. I'll just read those real quick. Will you miss us? Well, that is a question. I thought it said, will you, or I will miss you, but no, she's saying, will you miss us? Of course. Of course. And of course, Andre with it. It's bittersweet. Happy 100th, Josh. Thank you for sending that, folks. What's your least favorite part about doing these podcasts? That is really easy. That is, well, so far, what's been your least favorite part, Andre, about these podcasts? Your first one.
Not that I don't have a favorite. I got to just get used to talking in the mic.
Yeah. It's a little tricky at first because you're not used to it. You're just used to talking, and then you realize proximity really matters.
Yeah, and if you sit too far, you can't really hear.
Yeah, it's like I'm falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
not that I don't like it, just something I got to get used to.
Absolutely. Everybody does that. Usually it's like 2 or 3, episodes, and then someone gets used to it. It took me a long time. I would sit like this thinking it was good enough, but there's like an echo. So you get real close. Not all mics are the same, but these mics they like it nice and hot.
And you got a radio voice. Yeah. So it's like.
It's developed.
Yeah.
I think you're actually the same way.
What?
If you get close, let's get you there.
All right.
Let's get you real close. Here, let's do this because you can do this too.
Can you tilt this?
Yeah, if you go like this way.
All right.
That way it'll be a little more angled towards you. That deeper voice is going to come from that front of that diaphragm.
Like this.
Oh, see?
Yeah, like that.
Whoa. Where this is where we get the let's see which one. Take us away. Actually, I shouldn't play the sound effects too much because somebody was saying they were actually overpowering some of our speaking, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Okay, so here's the questions. What's the least favorite part about doing these podcasts? Honestly, the tech. The tech is absolutely the worst part. Trying to figure all of this stuff, all these individual things out. I finally, after 100 episodes, it was actually like episode 90, 80 something ish, I started realizing you guys are going to be bored about this, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Each bits of these devices, you can see that one has a screen and it has buttons. This one has a screen and buttons. This one has just buttons. This one has a screen and buttons. The TV has a screen and technically buttons. So what happens is the computer doesn't know what's the TV sometimes, which prioritize. Sometimes it thinks this is the TV. And so you have to go in your settings all the time and make everything match up perfectly, whether it's a rabbit's nest. Rabbit's nest?
Is there like a device that you can like
I wish. I
streamline
don't know. You're looking at them. This is about as streamlined, I think, as it can kind of get for now. To be able to do this, I shouldn't complain too much, because to be able to do what this is doing in the past, you'd have to have a whole broadcast room. I mean,
and people back here doing everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is pretty streamlined. But that has been a huge challenge for me to have to learn software and hardware both. I don't really enjoy doing that, especially the software. I hate software. I like hardware. I love physical buttons. That's why I bought that thing instead of just using the internals.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's been the worst part. And if you guys could see, some of you have seen me. They've been here while it's happening, and I don't want to relive it, so we're just going to leave it there. And I already let my cigar go out. But that is it. That's actually it. You can tell probably in my voice. So that's the thing I've liked the least about it, and that's not even a stretch. That's absolutely the worst part. But I'm getting better, guys. I think I'm better now. I think I'm all better because this is the last episode. Yeah, there we go. David, he's on here saying, "What's up, Bandit? Burt Reynolds looking mother effer."
Hey, I tried, dude. I could only be a fraction of what that man was.
Dude, Burt Reynolds, what a man. You know what though? Let's talk about that for a second before the rest of these comments, because these are my questions to you. Burt Reynolds, I guess that would probably be, I'm guessing, your answer. Burt Reynolds or Tom Selleck?
Dude, that's tough, dude. You can't do that to me.
I'll do it. I'll answer.
I'll say Burt Reynolds just because historical reasons.
Okay.
So I grew up on Smoking the Bandit.
Yeah.
My dad, like one of my dad's all-time favorite movies.
Okay.
So, any few minutes I got to hang out with that guy.
Okay.
It was,
that's it.
Burt Reynolds and Smoking the Bandit or Cannonball Run.
I would say that Burt Reynolds and Smoking the Bandit, dare I say, is better than anything Tom Selleck did.
Yeah, because Tom Selleck he was a show guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he does have movies, right? So he has
he should have been given something
Down
like
Under.
He should have been given Knight Rider.
That would have been cool,
bro. Like they have the wrong man for that. My opinion.
Yeah,
they have the wrong car and the wrong man. Actually, the right car.
Right car. Wrong
if
man.
it was Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
The wrong car. They should have just given.
But just two different types of medium, I guess, if you will. He was more of a show guy.
Yeah.
Magnum PI.
Mm-hmm. So good though.
Blue Bloods.
Dude, Magnum PI. Come on.
All that. And Burt Reynolds is a movie guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure. If I look back, he was probably on TV shows, but it was guest appearance type deals. But
right. Yeah, I think Burt Reynolds for movies, Tom Selleck for the character. He's so badass, dude.
Yeah.
He's so cool with that stash, and it's just rad. Not gonna lie. I shouldn't fanboy his stashes in this room right now because people are gonna think different of me. I haven't even finished the whiskey yet. Oh. So yeah, that's definitely a hard one, but yeah, Smoking the Bandit, that's epic. Okay. Dambrio's happy that I can find the buttons. Awesome. Okay, you have really, Kim says, you have really calmed your farmer fits significantly. It's because I'm figuring out the tech. Okay. Or you just don't see me that often. That is tough, but Tom Selleck for sure. Yeah, I would agree. Like if I could see Tom Selleck in more movies, I would have been really happy about that. Kim's saying Tom as well. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to scoot down. Yes, and actually he was really cool. And I don't particularly like the movie
3 Men and a Baby,
but that was a good part. He was cool. He was cool. Okay, next question. What was your favorite part about doing these podcasts? It's funny too because those are back to back, and I don't know if they're from the same person, but Good questions. What's the worst and best part? What's been my favorite part about these podcasts? That's actually harder. My favorite. What's been your favorite part so far, Andre?
Just getting to do it. We've talked so many times when we were in the chair, for 5 hours straight, 6
Easy.
hours straight, so we kind of get the vibe for each other. But I think over like longer form conversation, it's been interesting getting to see this side of your business attitude and everything else like that. And just this entire setup, this is my first ever podcast I've ever been on. So
First timer,
dude.
Popping it.
Pop the cherry.
That's awesome. That's cool. It probably won't be the last. That's awesome. Rochelle says, I have a dream of owning a Trans Am or Firebird one day.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, so.
I mean, you had one.
I had one. I had to get rid of it. It was the right choice. But Curtis has the Bandit car, essentially. I think it's a year new. I think it's a year newer.
But it's the black and gold.
Yeah, it's black and gold.
Wow, what a dream come true.
It's beautiful, dude. Beautiful. I want to drive it. Curtis, if you still have it, we need to rock and roll. My dream car is a Dine-Up. I don't know what that means. Maybe she spelled it wrong. Chrissy's saying Camaro. Yeah, I mean, everybody says Camaro, but let's be real. There's some cooler cars out there. Okay, so what was the favorite part about doing these podcasts? Other than getting money and selling my shirts off my back? No, I'm just kidding. That's actually not even close to being the best part. And I mean that. I think I would like to say it's not about me. And I would like to say it's the effect I have on people. Okay, so yeah, let me do this real quick. I want to read a couple of things to you since that was a legit question. I'm going to read something really quick. There's 2 screenshots I take. By the way, if you guys want a little personal productivity sort of life hack, positive way of living, screenshot the nice things people say about you and save them in a file. Put them in a file and keep them. Even if you never reread them, knowing that there's a memory bank of those things there and that there's tons of them because everybody gets them. Maybe just sporadically throughout their life, but screenshot that shit and keep it. You deserve it, right? I had to remind myself that like these kind things people say about you, especially if it's reoccurring, keep that shit, man. Like respect it. So I'm going to read you 2 things. One's kind of a little bit lengthy and the other one's short. So here we go. I won't say any names. The end of an era. Congrats on what you've accomplished with the series. Thank you for the thought-provoking content and laughs, the encouragement and the best of most authentic version of one, and the encouragement to be the best and most authentic version of oneself. It's been a good run. I'm going to read you one last one. There's been a lot, but I can't read them all. Hey, handsome. Hello. Hello, interwebs. I saw your post from yesterday. It really made me smile. It's so awesome to see you making your dreams come true and checking the boxes of the goals you set out to accomplish. I know I've told you before, you have such a beautiful heart and a heart for people. It's inspiring to see you see in such a selfish world. You give freely of yourself and the knowledge and fought to gain by teaching and helping others carve out a place for themselves. You build people up and genuinely want people to succeed. That's inspiring in itself. But you do it while staying grounded and maintaining your humility. Sometimes I've been called arrogant, and I like that. You are such a rock star. The world needs more men like you. I'm truly happy for you and proud of you, my friend. I might be in the background, but I'm always rooting for you and praying for you. That is the best part. Hands down. Just right there. That I announced that it was be my last episode, and people sent me those messages, and it's like they didn't have to. They went out. I didn't ask them. I didn't message them, and they messaged back out of the blue. And some of these people message me very rarely, but then they say something like that. That's cool. I mean, some of them are just clients that say these things. I don't actually, and I've never tattooed them, but people in the shop have.
It kind of just shows how big of an influence you are on people.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah.
But there's also a second best part that has nothing to do with you guys. And I'll tell you what it is. Well, if I could ever keep cigars lit, let's see. Almost hung on. I think we got it. Okay, so the second best part of this whole thing has been a lifelong dream, goal, or let's say vision of mine has been the ability to be a speaker, to be a leader, and to be somebody to communicate stories. As an artist, I like to make things, but then I realized as I got older, the sophistication of art really is just to convey a message. So to be able to do that verbally, which is probably just as archaic and old, if probably not older than tattooing itself as a way to share stories and communicate, I think tattooing and storytelling has to be the oldest form of art known to man. And I get to do both. That has led me to more, like I said earlier, more personal development than just about anything I've ever experienced. I couldn't do this if I wasn't a father first, a business owner second, and this person that apparently inspires people to such a level that is reminiscent to some of the things that I look up to in people. like, for example, you as a client, hearing you talk about your family, the way you talk about your kids, the way you talk about your wife, life in general, the things you love that you're interested in. Like I can tell without even asking, you're not the kind of man who values things over people or anything. And experiences matter to you. That you're the kind of dude who is admirable. And so I can see those things in people, and I think only because that you're able to see them in yourself as well. I think it's a reflection. Otherwise, people don't see it, and that's because they don't probably have it.
Yeah.
So it's been really quite a pleasure to experience that over the last couple of years and get better at doing this, because my life's long goal in the end really isn't to have cool cars and a lot of money and a sexy body and a great jawline with blue eyes and an incredible rapist wit. It's not all those things, even though I'm tall, dark, and handsome, super rich, sophisticated, and cool. I get it. You'd think I'm conceited, but what makes me better than most people is that I'm not. It's really impressive. But what's been interesting is that I want to learn how to give everything I know that's got me where I am away. And as I continue to grow, my goal in life, and I have to be a good communicator to do so. Wow, that was telling. Stumble over the words. I have to get really good at communicating, because I want to give everything back that I know, because I know for a fact I can do it with a genuine nature and honesty. And how nice is it to know that there's somebody in the world that you can trust that's not saying, hey, here's how you do everything. But if you want to be a good tattooer, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to be a good friend, a good father, a good business owner, if you want to do these things, if you want to be 40 and not fat, if you want to be 40 and have a good life and a good community, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it back. And I want to teach people how to do that. Not because I want anything from it, because I got so much from it. Because my whole life I always looked at the people that had all the advice, and I wondered, are they telling the truth, or are they just trying to sell me? Which oftentimes they're just trying to sell you. And I want to know, but some of them are probably honest. And maybe there's a mixture of both in between. So it's real hard to read through the lines, right? And you have to do that. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy you can just ask. I'm just going to give you as straight to it as possible, which means all along the way I had to pay attention. I had to make mental and physical and literal notes along the way so I don't forget. It's like how easy it is to forget being a kid.
Yeah.
So now that you're a parent, it's like you forgot how much that mattered to them. So easy for you to forget. I just made mental notes to not do that, so that when I get somewhere, I can give it back. And that's my whole goal. So communication is a huge part of that. And that's what I've gotten the most out of this. My favorite part of this has been the ability to do that better.
Yeah.
I'll always be getting better, hopefully.
Well, you kind of do that. You kind of leave that behind with people when you tattoo them.
100%.
You leave behind all your effort, everything you learned, your experience, everything like that, with people that you tattoo. And that's forever.
Sure. I agree. I think it's really important people go to.
It's pretty telling that, I don't know how it was for you before I met you or anything like that, but like people they keep coming back to you. They love the tattoos that you do. That's pretty telling about everything else that you've done, because you're an artist.
Right.
So instead of painting a canvas, you're painting someone's arm.
Sure.
And you're leaving that on their arm, their leg, wherever. And, you already left your impression on those people as well. And the people that look at their tattoos, when people look at mine, who did that?
Sure.
Josh Farmer did that at High Sierra Tattoo,
And I think it matters, the person that does it. When I first started tattooing, I realized something. I remember reading in a book first that when something is observed, its frequency changes depending on the person observing it. Now we actually know a lot more about science and how other spooky things happen, especially with light and physics, but I won't bore you about those things. But it's interesting to find that the actual, what would you call it, the molecular structure of something literally changes with the frequency the person brings to it. Whether it's somebody observing water or being next to a plant, there's literal science that backs up that things have a signature in them based off the person who was near or observing it.
And that's kind of what you did with ink and tattoos.
I believe so. I do. And then also too, as simple as just being literal, I give you a tattoo, you have something positive to say about it, plus somebody asks you, and then you talk about the person who did it, and then you're sharing positivity with them. Yeah. So just by simply being a decent person, you're able to affect things and multiply them outside of your reach. So I think that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And some people just, I guess, miss that a little bit, but that's okay. We don't all get to be 6'2", tall, dark, handsome, smart, chiseled jawline. Anyways, Curtis is saying that's it. Doing something you enjoy while inspires others doesn't get better, and you are right, 100%. Okay, let's get up to the comments, and then we'll read the rest of these questions that were sent in. Barkus is saying, Joshua, I'm so proud of you. I'm going to miss telling you every week you are the greatest. Barkus, DM. Agree, Curtis. Rochelle says, okay, let's catch up here. You definitely inspire me. Thank you, Danbury. I appreciate that. Mikey, he's a dork. I'm not going to read that. He's my oldest friend, childhood friend on here, but everybody's used to him. My opinion, you are the best leader, teacher, and wonderful soul. Wow, that's a big deal. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go ahead and Command Shift 4 because I already mentioned to you guys, so I'm screenshotting it. If you guys didn't hear that, I don't know. But I'm screenshotting that, and I'm keeping it. Thank you, Dambria, so much for saying that. Okay, Kim says, liar. You're right about that, too. We all are. He's humble, guys. He is. Thanks, Rochelle. So I'm a little behind, but I'm going to catch up right now. Who washed your T-shirts on hot? The gym. Okay, Lenore, thanks for sending the flag. Okay, we got a lot of comments. I'm trying to keep up because we got some questions to read, but thank you guys so much for this, and keep it going. I really appreciate it. Brittany says, you go, Josh. You're the man. That's awesome. Thank you. Somebody has to talk shit, right? Mikey, you
gotta keep you humble, you know.
That's true. Okay, here we go. You say this is the last. This is the question coming in from Facebook, the last question on Facebook. You say this is the last. Do you have plans for another podcast? This is the last, and I do have plans. And I know a podcast will be part of it for sure. What that looks like, what it's called, what it entails, I don't exactly know. I can say this, like I had mentioned before, that my job is to communicate and give everything I've learned back. Sometimes in life you have to do things you don't necessarily want to do, but they're the right things to do. Kind of like if you want to get fit and look good, but you have to lose weight first. You don't really want to go on a diet. So it sucks, but you have to if you really want to get the benefits.
Yeah.
And that's very hard. It's not fun. So people say, oh, but don't you love it? No, I don't love it. So right now there's something in front of me I have to do. I'm not going to give all the details away because you guys will see it you'll see it come to life. You will see it develop over time in the near future. I'll be working on it right away. That's what Wednesdays will now be dedicated to. But I have a wealth of knowledge. I want to get it out, and I want to package it in such a way that I know that when I turn 50, 60, 70 years old, that there's a huge body of work I can leave behind. So I need to work on those things, and that's what my new Wednesdays will be for. And it won't always be public at the time, and it'll take a lot of development because a lot of production will be involved. So yes, podcasts in the future. Future episodes, still recording, still making videos, not disappearing. I just don't want to dedicate Wednesdays for this summer, or maybe even indefinitely, to just doing Q&As. And I don't even know if I'll do a Q&A again. Not regularly, probably not weekly. If there ever becomes another Q&A, it'll probably be something that's on occasion, and it'll be a lot of fun, I think, still. But you guys have taught me a lot being here and given me a lot of opportunities, so I'm just going to expand on those and keep rocking and rolling. Okay, apparently I need to get to the DMs, just make videos and reels and tag. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so let's go to, so the last question was, you say it's the last, you have plans for another podcast. I don't have plans, but I know that there's one in the future, guaranteed. Okay, let's get to the rest of the questions. We'll try to fire away these kind of quick because I say that and I don't always mean it, but I'll try. Next one is thank you. Nice statement, thank you. You're welcome, whoever said that. Does it feel like graduation, sort of? Question mark. I think we all have come a hell of a long way. That's funny because before the episode, I was telling you, this feels like the last day of school.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I feel like I'm getting my yearbook signed right now. This time I'm getting paid. So does it feel like graduation, sort of? Actually, yes, because my goal years ago was I'm just going to record 100 episodes. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I don't even have a name for the show when I first started, but I'm just going for it. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I should do it. And I want to do it. And I did it. And now here we are. And it's totally different than when I started. I didn't even call it anything. I was just going live, and it's developed quite a bit. So, I preach about this a lot because I live by this. I don't tell you what to do, but I tell you what I've done, which is you have an idea, just make it, do it, start it. And you're like, oh, I'm not ready. I want to get this. And everybody wants to get everything in order. It's just a bullshit for your mind to have an excuse to be lazy. Just start. Start is the key. Always start. Start with where you're at, with what you have, and get rolling. So does it feel like graduation? Yes. Speaking of graduation, why don't you share a little bit with your position in regards to graduating right now?
Yeah, I got 3 more days of my undergraduate degree for business management at Golden Gate University.
Super exciting.
So yeah, finished 2 of my finals. Almost done with, 1.5 finals. The last one I just got to submit,
Okay.
And then I got until Saturday to finish the last one. It's just a movie review, so it's easy.
Is it relieving?
Very, yeah. It's been a long 2 years.
A long time. So we're kind of in the same boat in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably put way more work into what you're doing than I am, I'm sure. But either way, it feels good.
Yeah.
It's almost like a.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I've been waiting for it since I started.
That's really cool. And so what are you going to do from here?
I'm gonna see what I can do with it. I got a business management degree, so I'm gonna see what that opens up, whether it be for the company I work for now in the aviation field or for something else.
Okay.
You know, just looking for that next level up.
Okay.
To see where I could go.
Interesting. That's cool. I know that has to be exciting because I feel the same way about what I'm doing. Like I've gotten somewhere and now I need to revamp.
Yeah,
And so that's
exactly.
just, that's fun, right?
Yeah,
Like we talked off camera about how to stay hungry, but it's not really something I think it's just your nature. You're just naturally the kind of guy who wants to keep going, keep pushing, keep leveling up, see what life has in store and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, because it's real hard for me to stay in one place. Just when I was in grade schools, that was a problem. Big problem.
Yeah.
And more evident in life. It's hard to stay in one place. Probably the reason why I was able to do it in the Marine Corps so much because I was never in one place in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Always moving.
Always had that newness to it.
Yeah. Out of the 5 years I served, I think I only spent a year and 2 months broken time at home, quote unquote.
Rochelle says congratulations to you, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And Brittany also, congratulations. It's like having a baby. Everyone wants to plan it and get ready, be ready, realizing you're never truly ready. That's 100% perfect.
100%. That's, people
Nobody's ready.
People ask me about kids, what's the best thing? I go, you just
have one.
If you have a slight thinking that you're ready for it, go ahead. But you're truly never, ever ready for it.
You can't be, no matter how much you prep.
And everyone's experience with their own kids is different. So, all the things I've heard before we had our 2 kids, and even our 2 kids themselves, even them being our 2 kids, they're completely different from each other and how we have to parent them. So it's nothing's ever the same. And you just got to do it.
Rochelle says, I relate to that, Andre. I love change and do not like stagnancy.
Yeah.
Like like a phoenix burst into flames and rising from its ashes. That's you're exactly right.
Very poetic.
That's what she said.
Okay, let's get to the rest of these questions. And of course, if you guys have any questions, you ladies and gentlemen, folks out there, and you want to send them in, now's the time. Let's go ahead and get to the rest of these that were submitted. Here we go. Anesthesia tattoos. Would you ever get one or do it? Lots of celebrities are doing them. No. It's that simple. No. I think the pain is a rite of passage, and I don't say that just to be sadistic. I think it's a human experience that I don't want to erase just because I think technology eliminates too many human experiences already. I'm not about to let that happen to my own personal practice. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So pain is necessary. Andre, do you want anesthesia for your tattoos? Okay, good. Attaboy. Okay, next question is traveling tattoo artist or stable shop owner / renter, ? So I don't know what the question actually is. Is it towards me or are you asking for yourself? Traveling tattoo artist or stable shop owner / renter? I don't know how to answer that. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. If you're asking me, traveling tattoo artist, hell no. I don't like people. I don't like crowds. And I don't like homework. I don't like dinner. I don't like exercise. I don't like sleeping. I don't like waking up. I don't like taking showers. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I have to do. And I choose not to be a travel tattoo artist. But if that's something you're asking, nothing will develop you more than being in really uncomfortable, hard positions and situations. I should say situations to this person. Being in really hard situations, nothing will develop you more. Matter of fact, I don't think anything else does really develop you.
No.
You have to have pressure. So as a tattoo artist, get it. It's too easy to go work at somebody else's. Trust me, I see it all the time in my own shop. It's way too easy to go ride the coattails of somebody else who's built something super hard, got all the clientele and put their life and soul into it for you to think you're successful before you actually are. And you had to be smacked in the face a couple times. Go out there with your own booth, your own name on your own dime, and let's see if you can make it, because it's too easy to get lost in somebody else's shadow, and then you mistake it for your own. And nobody ever not only respects that, but the individual themselves never appreciates the actual work somebody else has done for them to give them a name. So do it yourself. Nothing will develop you more, if that makes sense. I hope it did. Will you be having a tattoo fake skin class soon? Yes. The answer is yes. We're going to be doing that. As a matter of fact, it's in the works. We're planning it, and I want to set it up very, very professionally, and I want it to be put together really well because it matters a lot to me with people actually having machines in their hands. It will not be for only tattoo artists. This will be for the general public. The first class is going to be for people who basically are just like curious of what it's like to hold a machine and poke some holes into some fake skin. But it will not be for free, but it will be a really cool, powerful experience, especially if you want to get into tattooing. You're not just curious about how it works, but you actually want to build your skills. So yes, that's in the future. Next question. What can the community expect from Joshua Ray Farmer next? You can expect to watch me massively change. That's what you can expect over the years. The next coming months, I'm not staying the same. I'm moving forward, and this is a year of transformation. I told you earlier that my word for this year is domination, as to dominate. I literally am. I wrote it on my wall, and I eventually want a physical sign so I can see it everywhere I go. The word is dominate, full hostile takeover. And I mean it. I'm
You gotta
coming.
get one of those "the world is yours" sign, like
Like a-
Scarface.
Okay, I need that. I will do that.
They make little lamps for it too, by the way.
Hell yeah, something that would be cool is like a bat signal onto my wall.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. So full hostile takeover this year. You will see me develop, and nothing develops somebody more than putting yourself in hard situations. So I'm going to be taking lots of risks and doing things that are very difficult, very scary, and very hard. But that's the whole point. So you will see a lot of development on my end, and I hope that it inspires other people to do the same. So that's kind of the whole point of it. Okay, next question. Will you continue to do music? Yeah, absolutely. I will say this, though, when it comes to music. I would like to say that I just would make it because I love it. But unfortunately, music is one of those things that I make for myself, and typically when I'm not feeling well. so music is really for me to cope with certain things. And right now, I'm just not in a phase in my life where that's important to me. I'm now in a phase of my life where I'm the phoenix bursting out of the ashes, just finding my way into the future, and really digging my claws into life's heart, making sure that my breath and my fire that I breathe just penetrates the soul. I'm just kidding. I really hope to develop massively this year, and music is. I haven't really been making much of it. I still listen to my music that I make because I like it. But it's just not that important to me right now because it is my own personal sort of coping mechanism for pain and suffering. And I'm just not right there right now. So maybe in the future, who knows what it holds. Okay, I'll get to a couple more of these and I'll make sure I'll get to the comments so I don't skip you guys there. Next question, what would you tell your younger self right now? You're right. That's what I would. And I think about this actually almost every day. What would I tell 16-year-old Josh, 7-year-old Josh, 5-year-old Josh? You're right. You a lot of what's in your head is right. But the thing is, I don't need to go tell me that because I didn't know it then, but I had a clue. And that's what I needed to come as far as I have. Yeah, I mean, I've been able to make my dreams come true to a high degree, and I've been able to do things. It's remarkable, actually, what I've been able to not just accomplish, like a pat on the back, but just to be able to experience and to be able to be part of. It's been remarkable. And what I would tell my younger self is keep going because you're right. You're right about school. You're right about people. You're right about the future. You're right about. My dad told me this when I was young, 10 years old, and really drove it home by the time I was a teenager looking for a job. Don't take advice from people who aren't qualified. I mean, don't take advice from people who don't have what you have. Why would I listen to somebody about how to grow on social media if they haven't done it? That is crazy. And they might be right, but I'm not going to go around digging in the trash for one good piece of material or food. That's just silly. So anyways, that's what I would tell myself. That's where I go. What would you say, Andre, to your younger self if you went back in time? And you can't use my response.
Oh, I'm not. I would say simply, man, you wouldn't believe this shit.
Wait till you get here.
Just wait, dude.
Whoa.
You're gonna be fucking. Trust me. That's all I would say.
That's interesting.
And puff a cigarette and walk away.
Hang on, kid.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
That's cool. You're going to meet a girl who loads bombs one day. You'll see. And your daughter's going to headbutt your son and you're going to laugh and tell somebody about it on the podcast while you're bursting into flames, that phoenix rising out of the ashes. Okay. Brody is saying, how old are the kids? I don't know if you want to disclose that. It's a little personal.
Yeah. My son is 5 and my daughter's 2.
Okay. Very little. Dude, 5 is such a cool age.
Yeah, dude, he's metal.
So cool, dude. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he does everything he wants to do. I mean, he's really hard up right now on 2 professions. Either 1 a race car driver or 2 a stuntman. One of the 2.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, and I, thank God Burt Reynolds made a stuntman movie named Hooper.
Yeah.
I let him watch that, dude, and he was all in.
That's sick.
All in.
That's super cool.
So
Little
I said,
ones.
yeah, if you want to do it, why not?
Landy says, if a celebrity wanted you to tattoo them while under, would you? So I'm not in control of what other people do. So sometimes people come in, as long as it's not a portrait, because it changes the skin. So people will put this numbing cream on their skin. If they do that before they come in the shop, I can't stop that. There's nothing I can do about it. Now, I could tell them to leave, and I have, time to time. just because if I'm going to do a certain type of work, I can't have the skin jacked up from numbing cream because it changes it dramatically.
It loosens it.
Yeah, it like turns it kind of soft, foamy, like almost like a welt. It's hard to explain. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it exactly. If anybody's ever tattooed on this live stream or watching this, and you've ever tattooed the spine, you'll find this fatty tissue over the spine for protection reasons. Even if somebody's really lean, they typically have this fat, especially in their upper spine around their neck. There's this layer of fatty tissue under the skin that kind of makes it more porous. Like you can see your pores more. It's like expands the skin a little more for protection. That's what happens to your skin when you use numbing cream. It looks a lot. It's very similar to tattooing the mid spine or the I don't know what like C4 or something. Whatever.
Like loses the contraction.
Yeah, something weird happens.
Up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it opens up. And so anyway, it doesn't make for good portraiture material. And so I'll send people home, but I can't help people. Anyway, a basic way to answer that is probably, but I wouldn't administer it and I wouldn't recommend it. And I would rather tell them that they're being pussies and to get over it and earn it. But at the same time, for the right amount of money, I won't go there and say most people would do just about anything. But realistically, the right amount of money.
Hey, I'm running a business.
I'm running a business here. If someone's got to pay the bills. Okay. Damber says, to all the people who said I'd never amount to anything because of my procrastination, just you wait. There you go. I really like that, Damber. Thanks. Okay, Rochelle, Bart, and Lisa practice. Oh, that's funny. They were talking about tattoos. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit. What's something you would like? Or, I'm sorry. What is something little you would ask grown up you? Oh, I've never been asked that before. Can you think of anything? What?
So
something little you would ask grown up you?
So yeah, having to
like
go
if
back,
they knew you were them.
Yeah, so that's gonna be weird. It's probably gonna be after that conversation of, hey, you're not gonna believe this shit. And then
he's like, wait, what?
Wait, do you have cool cars? That's probably what I'd ask myself.
Okay.
But I heard this funny saying that you become the person that you didn't have when you were younger.
Yeah.
As far as like male figures.
Yeah.
So you become the person that you needed when you were younger. I don't know how true that is.
I have heard that.
But I would say it'd be pretty true, just by my relationship with my kids and everything else. You know how I am with them and how my dad was not there at those times. You know,
right.
That my mom had to fill in. So it kind of became true. You know, like what I was looking for as a kid. Right, I was looking for.
Like, would you say like your younger self would ask you, "Am I going to be a good dad?"
Probably not, dude.
You probably weren't thinking that.
No, dude, not at all when I was younger.
Interesting, because I was thinking about that by 7.
That came a lot later in life.
Interesting.
So
like the concern for it.
Not so much concern. I was more excited for it, but and I knew. So, you know, when my wife was pregnant and all that stuff with my son 5 years ago, I was excited for it. Was kind of nervous because, you know, it's
sure.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, huge.
But when I seen him for the first time in the hospital, you know, I knew right then and there that it's like, no, like all this is all in.
Yeah,
like there's no other place I'd rather be. You know?
I like that response.
And then the second question that I asked myself was, how the fuck would someone leave this?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Like, how can you like they make your kid cry for the first time, right? And then they hand them to you. Or her to you, you know, they're like,
to just go, I don't really want to do this.
You know, like, yeah, you know,
I think it takes a certain kind of person to walk away from something so beautiful. A really fucked up person.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't. Yeah. I really couldn't.
It's interesting you say that because I've always wondered the same. Like when people say, I can understand how a parent could do that. Good. I'm glad you can't understand because I can't either. That's one thing I cannot understand is like the first time I saw my daughter, or the first time I found out that my son was being born, and especially when I went to the hospital and, you know, they did the little scan and found out that it was a boy. There's this moment, like you just described, there's this moment of assurance that you have with yourself, almost like a deal you made with God that's sealed in stone, like the 10 Commandments. This is a rule. This is a law of physics written in physics. Like this is just as true as gravity will always be true, just as the sun will always go up and come down for the most part for about at least 1 trillion years. So much as reality is what it is, you will be there for that child. There's like this moment of like clarity of, oh yeah, this is it.
You know, and then as they grow older, you're constantly on that grind of trying to raise the best person you possibly could, right? Because, you know, my mom did the best she could, but I was still a troublemaker.
Sure.
You know, still did a lot of
I hope,
fighting. And
I hope that comes through camera a little too, because I could tell that you were probably a hard kid. I bet you gave your mom
absolutely
hell.
terrible.
I could just tell.
Yeah, absolutely terrible.
Interesting.
But my son's not like that. As much as he is wild, he's not wild like that.
Yeah.
He's a boy. He's a young boy.
Mhm.
You know, he wants to
He's being a boy.
ride his bike. He wants to get dirty. He wants to, you know, do all this stuff.
How did he take the headbutt?
He didn't like that too well.
Not at all.
No,
Not from his little
culture
sister.
shock. But because it was a solid headbutt, dude.
Okay, so Landy is asking, what is something little you would ask grown up you? If I could answer that, I probably would have been interested of I was always really concerned about being a good dad. And I think I would ask that. I would be like, am I a good dad? I think honestly, that's the only question I probably would ask myself. And also by the age of 7, I always knew something big was going to happen in my life. And I honestly always kind of felt like I knew I was going to be successful at a very young age. I just knew it. There was like this, almost like a gift given to me. I would say it felt exactly like a gift given to me by God, little implants into my brain of him saying, I know life sucks. I know it's hard. I know it's rough. I was also raised by a single mother up to the age of 10 until my stepdad came around. And when I say dad, that's who I mean. And so I remember this moment of like assurance, almost like this, like I had no friend. I really mean this when I say it. I know it's hard to imagine with these blue eyes. I had no friends. I was a dork. I was picked on. I was beat up all the time. I was made fun of all the time. I wet the bed till I was 13. I was a mess, dude. I was a fucking hobo. Like a lot of times didn't have a place to live. No disrespect to my parents. Things were hard, right? My parents didn't come from the best background.
Understandable.
And man, it was bad going to school smelling like piss because all your clothes are dirty and you don't have any resources. Skinny as hell, malnutritioned, and dorky with big old ears. Hard to imagine. I get it, ladies. It's hard to imagine. You wouldn't have bought my shirt. I'll tell you that right now. But long story short, I think, well, obviously that helped me develop massively. But there was this gift given to me, and I can't explain it any other way besides God came to me and said, "Here's this gift of knowing that one day you will succeed." And that's going to get you through all of this. And I just never accepted where I was. I was like, this ain't me. And I remember having this feeling of not like, you'll see. It was more like, you'll see.
Yeah.
Because I know it. I know it deep down. Even as a little kid, it's the thing that I coped with. And however you want to take that, I had that by the age I was 7.
Yeah.
So that's something I would tell my grown-up self is that like, you're going to be a good dad.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that misbehaving I did was because school was different back then. You know, being a child was different back then.
Sure.
Vice now. You know, there's it's kind of strange now when I go to like my son's school because he's in public school now, and they're like understanding about a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know,
Lenient.
yeah, because my perception of schools when I went through it, you know, and it's quite a bit different. And a lot of that was mainly just because I wanted to do my own thing all the time, and didn't realize that there's sometimes you kind of just have to. You know, like at school, you kind of just have to sit down and learn, but that's not something I was interested in. I was like,
You just didn't care.
hell no,
Zero
dude.
concern.
Hell no.
I was the same way.
You know, and it turned out to just being no. You want to just do your own thing. You know, you want to not so much be a leader, but you don't want to be a follower.
Right.
And that's what it turned out to be. You know, but nobody understood it. Everybody, you know, said it was. What else,
Do you think at an
on the
early age,
spectrum and all this other stuff?
at an early age, you knew you'd be a leader? Like you weren't going to be a follower. That's just not you.
No,
you're going to do your own thing.
To be honest with you, like I have like assignments from like kindergarten and stuff like that. Like say I was going to be in the Marine Corps.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, like
Dude, I want to see one of those.
way back when.
You got to share.
Like my
one
mom
of those
has
with me. I
like
wanna see it.
my mom has one of those scrapbooks that you keep. Like it follows you. She like made it like a long-term project where like she puts my work in.
That's cool.
And all that stuff from like kindergarten up to like high school. You know, and like even back then, like it was just like, no, I'm gonna do that. You know, so but by the time I like came to fruition, you know, where my mom, like I'm telling my mom, like you need to sign these papers. I'm 17. The recruiters are coming to our house. They're gonna sign these papers. She's like, hold up, dude.
That's
I didn't
cool.
think you were serious. I'm like, no, I am. There's nothing anyone can do to talk me out of it.
That's pretty cool. I like that. That's badass.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that in my son and my daughter. You know, they kind of just. I feel like, you know, sometimes we feel like it's a pain in the ass, you know, because you know we're trying to tell them to do one thing, and they're just like,
Right.
I'm gonna do my own thing, and then, you know, we'll talk about this later, and we're kind of like, no, like you have to listen.
Right.
But my wife's the same way. Like we're also understanding because that's exactly how we were when we were that age.
Right.
And we're like, God damn it! Like we're trying to show you the rule, like the keys to success here, you know.
Right. But you do have to let them.
Yeah, because those kids are just so stubborn and headstrong in their own way, and they just have to figure it out their own way, man. Like, do the best we can.
That's interesting you say that because my father always told me, and still to this day says it. He goes, "The only thing I ever wanted for you guys is to make sure you're doing what you wanted to do. I don't care what you did, as long as you were doing life the way you wanted to do it. That's all I cared about. I don't care what it was."
And that's what we do. You know, like even if my son changes his mind, you know, it's like if that's what you want to do, we'll 100% support. You know, within reason. Like
Right.
if he's like, I
Of
want to be a
course.
bank robber,
He still
or
needs you to be a guy,
a drug dealer. You know, no, dude,
right?
rethink that.
I want to be Smokey and the Bandit.
Hell yeah, dude,
Let's go,
ahead.
rock on.
But yeah, man, like you just gotta support them. You gotta show them that you're there to support them. You know,
That's
because
cool.
many times, many people they don't have that. you know.
Mandy's also jumping on here saying, Andre, thank you for your service.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And Mandy, thanks for joining us tonight. That's very cool to see you. Mandy has the bluest eyes I've ever seen. You can even see it on the screen right here. In person, it's crazy, as a matter of fact. Okay, I'm going to get to the rest of these questions. We got a few more before we close tonight. So here we go. If you guys have any questions in the comments, especially for Andre, now's the time. Okay. What challenges have you overcome lately? Good question. I'll answer that right away. The challenges I've overcome lately is there's this thing in life that happens where you're going to be continually tested until you get the fucking message. And that's always going to be true until you die. The message I've needed to get apparently for the last 5 years since opening my business is that you need to be a little more bold. You are the leader. You're in charge. If you give them an inch, they take a mile. That's just a fact. A friend of mine told me that. Thank you, Rico, for saying that. Before I opened my shop, I went to Red Wave and I talked to Rico and I just said, "Is there anything you could tell me that'll help me with some of the speed bumps I'm about to encounter? Because I'm sure they're coming." He goes, "Oh, they are." And I was like, "Okay, I know that." But I was all like humble and didn't, I was just being calm. I hadn't been eating shit yet. And he goes, "Don't give an inch. You give an inch, bro. It's not just don't give an inch. You have to be really strict, really stern." I'm like, we're artists. Like, I'll remember you said that. Yeah, it's taken me 5 years. And what I learned is this. I am no longer betting on talent. I could care less about somebody's talent. It doesn't matter to me. It's impressive. It's like a hot chick who's just naturally pretty and she gets all the credit. Yeah, it's empty. So it just doesn't mean much. Not that it's of no value, but I wouldn't bet on it. What I will bet on is ethic, work ethic, morals, values. I'll bet on the horse, not the rider. I don't care about the rider. The rider doesn't matter. The rider is the talent. The horse is the worker. The horse is the grit and the grind. And so I learned that. It took me 5 years. And somebody said on here, I won't say names, but a very good friend of mine said this. He goes, Josh, a lot of people are coming to you because you're a safe place to go to so that these kids feel like they're not doing anything. And they can tell their parents, their girlfriends, boyfriends, and friends and family that, look, I'm doing something. And that's what they're using you for. And I'm like, oh, that is what they're using me for. Done. I'm not doing that anymore. It's over. So I learned that the hard way. But I'm glad I learned it. And it's been beating at my door for a while. I'm like, frustrated, pulling out my hair, literally going gray. Probably just because I'm old too. But I learned that this year. So I'm really glad for that. So anyway, that's what I learned. Essentially, in a nutshell, is how to be the leader for people who give a shit and how to let everybody else go, even if you care. You just have to stop betting on the rider and start betting on the horse and let people go because talent is seductive. And I just wouldn't bet on it. I don't care about your talents.
Yeah. I mean, you see it in sports.
All the time.
Guys that are naturals, that stuff, tend to be the worst people.
Especially in high school.
I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I don't have to put the work in.
Right.
I'm good at it. I don't have to put the work in, but that builds a lazy attitude.
Yeah.
It's not good for business.
I always remind myself, it's a phrase I say to myself often, that I'm coming for blood. Yeah. Because I'm not that good and I'm not that smart and I'm not that fast. I am actually not extremely talented at
So you got to find a way to win.
Yeah. I got to really go for it. Because other people I see, dude, trust me, when people say, "Oh, that's not true, Josh, about you. You're the most talented person I know." I promise you that's not true. I work with talented people. I've been working with them for years. I've been looking up to them, talking to them. I can promise you this right now. I've seen real talent. I actually don't have a natural, real, true talent, except for in one area. The grit, the desire to push, and the hunger is just, I've been that way since I was born. I did not develop it. I will take zero credit for it. The drive that I have, I will take and never take any credit for. Yeah. Because I'll never rest. Yeah. It's just not in me.
Yeah. None of us are born rich.
Nope. And that's the only talent I have. Is that you're going to have to kill me to stop me. Like I always wanted a tattoo right here that said something like that in a different language, probably. So it's not so violent, maybe. Doesn't scare the kids away, but something that says cut it off, because that's what you have to do. Yeah. You're going to have to cut it off. Otherwise, I'm not going to stop. And I'm appreciative of that quality because I did not develop that. that was given to me as soon as I could remember. I felt it inside my bones, which makes me for not such a good student and sometimes not the easiest kid to deal with. But it's all good.
Is what it is.
Yeah, we
now
are
you're
here.
here, business owner.
What would you say if you were to say, if you were to give an answer to that? What's a challenge you have overcome lately?
So I think a definite one is staying engaged. Working full time, having a family to come home to, but also that's work in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And going to school full time. Trying to. I wouldn't say so much of a balancing act, but how to stay engaged. Because a lot of times I found that I didn't want to do stuff, right? Like I just like, why, I have PTO, I'll just take the day off. But jets need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not like my life. I there's a point where you have to come home. You can't do that all the time because you have kids, you have a wife to take care of, you have a household to take care of. But getting out of bed to do that, right? Waking up in the morning, trying to wake up at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning to get my ass over to Lemoore to start working on these jets until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then come home, and then go to the gym, finish my homework, do all this stuff, all this upkeep, all this stuff, keeping the house good, staying engaged, because there's multiple times where I was just like, well, that assignment's only like 1%, I don't have to do it, or that assignment's only 5%, I don't have to do it.
You could easily just let it slack.
Or, this is an easy job, I could just wait till tomorrow.
The gym, I don't have to go to the gym. I did it yesterday. I'm a little sore still.
I don't have to go to the gym. Like, shit like that, like staying engaged in that has been a definite challenge to keep going, especially when you do not want to.
Right.
And I owe a lot of that to my wife too, because she stays on my ass about it.
Yeah.
She's gonna say, I can't look this good and then have you look like shit. So I'm like, yeah, that's fucking right.
Yeah.
So
she's not lying to you.
So, and then that thing about taking care of your family, because the family relies on me to go to work and do my thing. And if I'm not performing my best, that's how I get kicked out of a job. So, I have to stay 100% there. I'm using the GI Bill to go to school. So if I'm not 100% in school, then I have to pay that money back.
Sure.
And then I get on academic probation. I can't go to anything for a year.
Wow.
You see, if you're on academic probation, you can't go to another school because they're like, well, why'd you get kicked out of this school? Well, we can't take you till the year's up.
Right.
So it's, there's heavy penalties for not being at 100%.
Wow.
So that right there was a big challenge.
It's interesting you say that because my philosophy regarding that, and I say this a lot to the people I teach, especially in the tattoo industry, is that essentially everybody knows already what to do. Literally, whatever level up you are. And this is why one of the reasons I specifically believe in a creator and a God, a father who leads us we call him a father for a reason, because it's very much like having a father leading you. The messages are coming to you. You already know what to do. Yeah, at least the next couple steps. But people think I got to figure it all out, though. No, I don't know. And the thing is, you're not being led astray. You're just not taking the actions. And when you start taking the actions and aligning with the message coming to you, the next level gets opened up. And then the next information. Yeah. So just be bold enough to take the action. And what's interesting is, like, again, something I teach a lot of people in my industry and even the students that I have or apprentices I've worked with is that information is nothing. Everybody knows what the fuck to do. It's all about application. Like you're saying, stay engaged. I don't care about what you know.
Yeah.
I care about what you physically do, because that's where the actual lessons are. And I don't think it's about information. Everybody knows what to do, but what are you doing? So everybody knows not to eat this. Everybody knows not to spend that. Everybody knows probably not to say this, don't hang out here, don't smoke that, don't do this. You already know. But what do you physically do? That's going to be your blueprint.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that knowing matters, but knowing doesn't matter. Action is everything. Knowing is just that. It's just information. But what about your application? And people forget that a lot. They think that knowing is the thing. Oh, I know. Oh, okay, but what do you do? I don't care what you know. What do you actually do?
Yeah.
And what you're describing right there just solidifies that even more.
And it's coupled with like a huge fear of getting all the way to the end and having a regret.
Yeah.
Think about that. You know? Like, the last thing I want is to be dying somewhere. You don't know when, but to think that
you left some on the table.
Shit. This sucks.
That would bleeding out and going, shit. Like, what's wrong? I forgot to do this and I didn't do that. And
you know what I'm saying?
Now.
Like that.
That's scary.
You got to think about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want that to happen. So like, but we're human. We're going to regret plenty of things, but
already,
also it's what matters is what you do after that.
Sure.
So, if you regret getting out of the Marine Corps, and you can't join back up for God only knows what reason. But what do you do after that, right? So the next thing that comes up, then you go 100. You know that what you feel like when you gave up, then you're like, I can't do that again,
Right.
and then you just pound on it 100%, and that's a big part of it too. Having to give 100% all the time.
That is difficult, but it's worth it too because
And people notice, man. Like people notice when you're 100% there and present, and when you're 80% there and 80% present.
sure.
People can see it, and they may not say anything or tell you anything or anything like that, but they know.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone knows.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And that's true in business and personal relationships.
Exactly. So
100%.
And if you respect anyone at all, and you respect those people, like just be there 100% for them.
Yeah.
And that's it. And be there 100% for yourself. Because you also know when you're half-assing.
True.
I had a wrestling coach in high school that used to say, he's like, you can fool everyone in the world, but you can't fool the guy in the mirror.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, because
That's
when you look
true.
at yourself in the mirror, you're like, nah, you're a piece of shit. It's just the way it is.
That's why I think it's a good personal development hack to write down your statistics. What are you? How old you are? What do you weigh? What are your metrics? How much do you earn? How much do you have in the bank? What's your body fat percentage? What's your lift? Like what is your best 1 minute mile? Whatever your metrics are.
Keeps
Write
you
that
very
shit.
humble too, because you know exactly what you are. There's no fluff.
Yep.
And
Instead of being like, we're good because next week I'll do this and then I'll get back to it.
Yeah, and I try to
I'll
do
just
that
this.
like every chance I get.
Self accountability.
Exactly. When people ask me, what are some things that you messed up on, and I'll tell them straight out, this is what I messed up on.
Interesting. I'm going to get to Danbury's question right here. So it's totally off topic, but appropriate. Did you ever find an editor to help you? No, but I am currently hiring somebody who can video edit, preferably somebody young, somebody who's into streaming or editing or posting or social media really heavily, and they just need a good job, especially a summer job or part-time. I am looking, and we'll be putting out the APB very soon. So it'll be official that we are looking for somebody to hire as an editor. We need them ASAP. And their qualifications could be very minimal, but more information will come soon. So yes, we are still looking for an editor. Rochelle says, so proud of you, Joshy. And you know what, sis? I'm proud of you. One of the most wonderful people and mothers I've ever known. So thanks for being on here and saying that. Okay. I like this one, Jake. We're a little behind on the comments, so I'll catch up real quick. Jake says, I have the responsibility of spending people's life savings on home renovations, and I have never had a complaint. That's
good
cool.
work.
That's a big deal. Jesus was a carpenter for
That's
a reason.
big trust thing, dude.
It is. I think that in the Bible, that's why that's why Jesus was a carpenter. That's why the story is of Jesus as a carpenter, because you have to trust him.
Yeah.
A carpenter is an honest day's work and has to work. It has to be real. It has to prove itself. And so I think that that's one of the reasons why. It's because it's physically hard work, but also something you have to trust somebody. Okay, needed to hear this right now. So thank you, Andre and Joshua. You're welcome, Michelle. Okay, let's scroll down a little, catch up. Thanks for 100 episodes and your time and effort. You know what? Thank you, Kim, of course. And of course, always.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah, make people's dreams come true. That's awesome, Jake. Good night, Kim. I love how in the comments they do their thing with each other. It's cool.
Yeah.
Getting too late out here. Congrats on 100 episodes. Yes, Heather in Texas. I'm guessing it's what, 1 a.m. or something. Okay, let's keep
2 hours
going. I'm willing to be taught. That's awesome, Barkus. Oh, for video editing. I'm like, what the heck is she talking about? This is a nice podcast duo. I agree. Good night, everyone. Good night, Heather. Good to see you on here. Okay, so let's get to the rest of the comments real quick, and then I have something to share with you guys. Okay, here we go. We're getting close. How would you handle a misspelled tattoo?
Ooh.
Well, I don't do lettering because I can't spell. I can't. But how have I? Laser removal or just full-blown cover-up? I'm sorry to say I can't spell. Stop asking me for lettering. I say it to everybody. Just don't.
Yeah.
And if it is, there's ways around that too. If you're dyslexic and you can't spell, that's fine. You can double check, quadruple check, use Google, use spell check, use your friend. It's like when they do surgery and you have to mark the arm.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor has to mark the arm and the nurse has to mark the arm. And then they have to double check, quadruple check that because they've amputated people's wrong arms. And guess what they have to then do? Amputate the right arm. Now you're armless. That sucks.
Oh, I'd be pissed, dude.
That's a big deal.
Fucking kidding me, dude?
Yeah.
You better give me some like Terminator arms.
Could you imagine if you had to lose an arm and a leg and they got the wrong arm and leg and now they have to take both?
Yeah, I would hop out.
Yeah.
I'm going to the next hospital.
I'm hopping out. Dude. How do you hop out? Like, what does that look like?
I'll find a way, dude. I'll crawl out.
I don't even know
care.
what the wheelchair looks like.
Yeah, I'll find a way.
With
I'm
one
leaving
hand,
this place.
you're going to have to push the side.
Give me
and
my
push
other arm.
Give me that back. I'm going to go somewhere
Yeah.
else, get a second opinion.
Put it in a pickle jar.
Okay, let's go here. How do you feel about 100? Tell us how you feel. Jeez, she really wants to know how I feel. How do I feel about episode 100? I feel really good about it. I feel very excited for the future, and I feel like it's appropriate. Something inside was telling me that this was the last episode, and I set out 2 years ago to this goal to reach it, and I have, and that's awesome. But this is not the end. This is only the end of this show, but the beginning of many other things. So that's how I feel. Are you throwing all of your loyal fans a farewell party? Yes, right now. I'm having a drink and a cigar with you. So thank you for joining me. Do you see yourself doing a podcast someday again in the future? I answered that earlier. Yes, we will do many, many more things. If you open another location out of state, will you move? Yeah, I want to be multi-locational, like you, Andre, who wants to always be growing and doing things and adapting. And you need that newness, that spice, because it drives us and also challenges us, right? So that's the real part.
Yeah.
It's like newness challenges you to grow. And I need that pressure. I'm thinking Nashville, Miami, because Curtis loves it. And his love for it is getting me, I've never been, but he's getting me interested. Nashville, Miami, or Vegas. Or who knows? All of it. I don't know. Arizona's pretty rad.
Vegas
There's all
is a
kinds of
good-ass
cool
time,
places. It would be
Very
cool.
expensive though.
But I would be expensive too.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool. Okay. Will you check in YouTube Shorts to keep up with your progress? Will you do check-ins on YouTube Shorts? I plan on doing a lot more content actually than just this once a week. So yes, you expect to see a lot more of me. Hence the reason I'm looking for a video editor. You guys put out the word. Okay. Next question. Handsome. I think that was for you. Okay. What's your answer?
I don't know about all that.
So next one is whoops. Who? You did it. Amazing, man. You did 100. I'm proud of you. Oh, someone's excited. So thank you. Let's see here. I want to get to this last part. I can't really read it. There we go. So stinking handsome.
That's about you.
That was me.
Yeah.
The other one was you. 100th. How you feeling? Well, I answered that a little. I'm feeling great. It feels like the last day of school, and I feel like we all did well. So that's all the questions so far. I have a couple things to share with you before we jump off tonight. It's been a good episode. Already 2 hours easily. See how?
Yeah,
I
quick,
promised
man.
you. Like it
Quick.
would just be.
No, God! No, God,
let's see
please,
here.
no, no!
If you guys have any
No!
questions in the comments, this is the time. I'm going to share something with you real quick, and we'll pay attention more to you guys in this very moment. Mandy's saying, is Andre's ink fresh? She's probably looking at your arm.
Yeah,
and
decently
shininess.
fresh.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, most of these are.
Like a week? It's been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for this one on my forearm here.
Mhm.
This has been about a year. This is about half a year. And this is 2 weeks.
You got a little bit of a timeline going. Eventually, it'll be about 2 years, and we'll be done.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. Comments. I'm sad this is the last episode. Mandy, you know what? Don't be sad because there's going to be so much. You're going to regret saying that. Mandy, you're going to regret saying that. So I'm going to hold you to it because there's so much. You're going to see more of me now, actually, because this episode will, being over, will give me a lot of time to work on the things that I have been slacking on. So Tennessee is dangerous, though. We live in Christie. You're aware of where I live right now?
Yeah.
We border like one of the worst cities
The
in the
armpit
country.
of America.
Like Tennessee is dangerous. It's like traveling, and people say California is. When you travel to Hawaii, I went to Hawaii once, and I've also been overseas. I went to a place called Vienna in Austria, and every time I would go to places like this and other places too, people have mentioned, "Oh, don't go there. Don't spend much time there because it's really expensive." And I'd go, and I'm like, "This is cheaper than where I'm from."
Yeah.
California must be, besides maybe New York, I've heard, the most expensive place in the world. Because when I
Yeah.
go to places everybody warns me about, it's actually comparable or cheaper. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, this is crazy.
Well, dude, if you can make it here, you make it anywhere.
I'm down. And that's what we're doing. So we're rocking and rolling. Okay. That sleeve is so vibrant. Yes, you are right, Brody. Nice working with you, Josh. Yes, Christy, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So I have something to share with you guys real quick. I'm going to go to a screen share real fast. You guys will still, I think, be able to see us in the corner. Is this happening? Let me see here. There we are. So, all right. I'm going to get rid of our little screen so you won't be able to see us. So we're off screen for a minute. And I want to start at the beginning. So we're going to do a quick little recap if you guys are watching this. I'm sharing my screen and showing you guys where we started, right? So this, actually, I don't think I can play the audio just because I think it'll crackle on me.
Your very first
Let me see
tattoo
if
that I
can
did
turn
on
this up.
somebody else, the Nirvana smile, I did that one
Perfect.
freehand drawn.
Perfect. See, even the
But
audio
that was
sucks.
just like a symbol.
I don't know if
My
you guys
very
can
first
hear
tattoo is
this,
also freehand, so that's cool.
but
That's
this
really cool.
let's
Mine
just
was a
give it a
witch, just
second. If
cracks
you
a
guys
little
can
bit.
hear this, I hope you
It was a little
can.
easier to make
I don't know if the
some
volume
actions,
is
so
good
okay.
enough.
Didn't. It
But
was
let's listen to
it's
this
hard to
for
stress
just a
on these
second and
images,
watch.
which
This is my
what you
very
wanna
first
pick when you
episode.
first start.
I'm just going to give you a tease
But
just
for
a
me,
second. Let's see what happens.
Has anybody asked me all the time? They don't always actually commit
I
to
think
it.
the audio is just going
They'll
to
say, "Do whatever you want," and then I throw out some ideas or show them some examples, and they're like, "Not
But
necessarily that." Nothing
Since you
that's
can't
gonna
really
keep me
hear
out
it,
of
let me
going to
just show
church.
this.
But
This is Fel,
or
and she
ruin
was
my job.
So here's how the show started. I'm going to touch on it real quick because I could talk
people
about this
want to
for
be
a
more
whole episode.
conservative and are usually a little
So,
more ambitious than they
I
realize.
wanted to do
they're
a
gonna
live stream. I'm going to actually turn the
do.
volume off just
but-
because it's cracking. You can't really hear it.
Love when
This is the volume. Okay, so this first episode, I actually look pretty good too. What the heck? I was young and attractive. What's going on? I wanted to start a live stream. This new girl started working with us. She was an apprentice. Felicia. She was awesome. She's still awesome. I hope she's doing well. Hope you're out there rocking and rolling. She was an apprentice for a little while, and one of her very first days, I just said, "Hey, I'm doing this live stream. You want to co-host with me?" And she's like, "Yeah, what's it about?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just going live, and I'm going to talk."
Here.
Yeah, and actually we're using the same mics too. So I ended up upgrading the mics to other ones for the actual podcast, but these ended up being something I've always enjoyed. I think because it hides my face. Anyway, Felicia is one of the first people to join me on a live stream, and so you're watching it there. I had really old, outdated equipment, but it still actually looks pretty cool. I'm not necessarily embarrassed about it. But it has been transformative, right? Because I've done so many of these streams. So we're going to start right here at the bottom and kind of just quickly just scroll through. Let me squish this frame down here for a second. Get down to 3 per screen. There we go. All right. So here's the first episode, right? And Felicia was on the very first one. And very quickly, as we started to grow, we're doing Q&As. You can notice in the comments, there was no name. There was no numbers. I wasn't counting them at the time, which is very funny. And then some of them I intermixed different. They weren't always just lives like a podcast. It was just real random. I had no idea what I was doing. And some of these were hours long, like really, really long. I think I did a tattoo one. Yeah, right here. You can see this one with Haley. She was actually on here in the comments on the East Coast. We did a tattoo live for 2.5 hours and just bullshitted, which was fun. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit. We still got Felicia in some of these episodes. You guys probably remember some of the ones with Haley. Let's see here. She had a lot of energy. So a lot of people enjoyed that while she was on the streams. And then I started numbering them. And I don't think have named them at this point. So we're episode 18, 19, 20. I'm going to keep going up. I didn't really do any interviews yet. I was just kind of just getting to know all my equipment and tech. And I was actually doing this from the shop at the time as well, if you guys don't remember. Okay, I'm going to keep going up. You can still see it's mostly Haley. She actually stuck with me the longest as a co-host, so I appreciated that. And then here we go, our first guest. This is Greg Sumi a year ago for an hour and 47 minutes. We did that, and I still don't. Oh, yeah, I numbered him now. So number 32, Sumi was our first guest on this show, which was really cool because he did reappear a few times in other episodes, and they were awesome. He's a rad dude. If you guys don't know who he is, you should find his work. If you're from Fresno, you know who Greg Sumi is. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, so we're going to keep going up. I think it's going to be a while until we see it being actually named as Artistic Freedom, as a matter of fact. But I'm going to kind of scroll forward real quick. We got my sister on one of these episodes, number 41. That's cool. And then I did a lot of tattoos and whiskey because I didn't know really what to talk about, but I knew I needed to talk about something and force myself to perform. So I did. So here we go. Scroll. Some of these episodes you guys have seen. Some of them are really old. Maybe you weren't joining us yet. That's okay. You can go back. There's a whole plethora of them for you. Okay, I need to comment. Catch up on these comments too. Jennifer says, it's truly been an honor and a privilege to see you grow over the yeets. I know what she means. From the morning Snapchat stories, 4 a.m. back in the day, to the interviews, the podcasts. Thank you, Jennifer, for sticking with me for so long. That's actually really cool. Very humbling. I started watching when Haley was on, says Dambria. That's crazy. It was so long ago, and you are right. Okay. All right. So I just want to kind of go through these real fast. It won't take very long. So now, episode 50, I brought the second tattoo artist on the show, and that was Robert Miranda. This dude is so sick. He's actually my favorite artist in town. If you guys want to see some rad, unique black and gray art, go look up Black Ink or Robert Miranda or Numb on Instagram. I think he still goes by Numb. And if you just look up Black Ink, you'll find him. His stuff is sick. He was on one of our episodes, number 50 here. If you want to watch an episode that's exciting, watch that one. It was really, really good. Okay. I'm actually skipping one too, by the way. Let me see if I can look back. I thought I put his picture up. So there was this one I did with this kid that turned out really bad. Let's see if I can find it. I think I skipped her. Maybe I don't know. I don't know where it is. It was with Haley, and we had a guest on. There you go. That's probably the best thumbnail I've had so far. There, that's a good one. I don't see it, but it was with a guest. Maybe you guys can find it for me. I don't see it. I don't want to keep scrolling. Anyways, we had a guest on. His name was Andrew. I'm not going to say much more, but it was the worst episode we've had and the most watched. And this guy was a complete, he's a complete dick. Just a complete asshole. Matter of fact, it taught me a lot because I realized so quick I should have called the episode way sooner because I had a woman in the room and the way he was acting was ridiculous. I should have had him removed way sooner. So I'm on top of it a little more.
It was
now.
that bad.
It was that bad. He should have been removed within minutes.
We'll talk about it off mic.
Yeah, it was insane.
I'm
This,
interested.
this guy was a complete
I'll have to
absolute
watch it.
moron. It was entertaining. People were calling me,
We're like, what the?
dude, is this guy for real? Even my dad messaged me, hey, watch out. Like just straight
Really?
up, like watch out. Because I'm like, oh yeah, well, don't worry, I'm within reach, so I think I'm okay. I'm prepared. But anyway, it was an episode with Andrew, and I'm willing to say it now because he's burned all bridges there. He was just a complete idiot, and it was very entertaining. That's not why I did it. It was meant with I meant to bring him on as a guest and talk about things and ideas because we had a debate to go over, but I didn't want to attack anybody. But he turned it into that real quick. Okay, anyway, I'm going to jump up to this one as well because this deserves it. Jeremy Micah DeVault jumped on here. You can see this episode here. This is the first one with him, Army combat veteran, number 55. Watch that episode if you want to see a rad dude, just like our guest tonight. Just really humble, cool, interesting, fun guy. This guy is, he's just a very cool dude, and I can't say enough about him, so watch the episode. You should have missed that one. If you've seen it already, you know what I'm talking about. I can't say enough about that guy. Just a really cool dude. Keep jumping forward. Let's see here. Of course, I'm skimming really quickly. Got another episode with Greg Sumi. He's the most frequented or requested, or what do I say? Like the most guest appearances by any person on the show besides me would be with Greg Sumi. So that's really cool. Okay. Also, Juan, this was a really cool episode. If you guys want to see that episode number, I don't see it. It's escaping my eyes. But go watch that. Let's see, 71, so 72. Go watch number 72. Juan is awesome. Juan was the dude who during the pandemic was like, F you. By the way, a fellow Marine. And he's like, you guys trusted me overseas to protect your country. You trusted me to serve as a deputy here in Stanislaus Valley, I think, or somewhere up in Milpitas Bay Area. But then when I have a business cutting hair, you're going to tell me it's too dangerous for me?
Yeah.
Straight up, fuck you. And I was like, dude, I like that. I can get
Gangster.
behind that. So we had him on the show. He was just awesome. And of course, we got a few other people here. I have to mention, we had Alyssa here. Alyssa is one of the raddest people. Linda, if you're out there listening, just know you are. But if I had a second, I mean this with respect, Vincent, don't be mad. Alyssa's second. She's so rad. Alyssa's one of the coolest chicks. Watch that episode. Really interesting. And of course, Woody. I can't say enough about Woody. If you want to see a really funny dude, very interesting, funny, driven, motivated guy, watch that episode with Woody. Super cool. Of course, Shelly Bear. You guys miss him. You talk about him a lot. He was on a lot of the episodes. And of course, Micah DeVault again, who did a follow-up. He has his own business called Blue Cord. And so if you guys know any veterans out there that need benefits and are struggling to get the respect they need financially, hit up Jeremy Micah DeVault. Go find Blue Cord. They're here in town and get them connected. Even if these people are Vietnam veterans, he helps anybody who's a veteran find the benefits they deserve, and they might not even know that they do. So go there and check that out. This guy was rad. Okay, so recapping, a lot of it was me. As it goes on, you can see now that I'm starting to call it artistic freedom, and that's where it kind of started at that point, somewhere around episode 40. And then these last ones here were some of my favorites because I really started to get into themes. So right here, I said the end is near, and I was talking about metaphorically, kind of using the Bible as a guide because we kind of understand those stories to some degree in the Western world. Well, I'm not going to go over it. You guys have to watch it, but the end is here, and it's true. The end of a way of life is over. It's here right now. The end of a certain way of life is gone, and some of us, like me and Andre sitting here, are the last of the men to carry it through and make sure that the torch gets passed. And it will be very few of us, and we have a duty, and it's an honorable one, and that's what this episode's about. And it keeps going all the way until, so that's from episode, let me see this real quick, 92. So episode 92 to episode, here we go, excuse me, episode 97. So I kind of ended this whole sort of biblical journey with, do women need men? And it was one of the spiciest episodes because you brats out there think you don't need us. And I will tell you right now, Take everything a man's made or does or provides for you away. Okay. For one day, you women can't use anything. I'm not attacking you. I'm just giving you a little perspective. You can't use a single thing that men designed, built, or provide for you without the help of women. Just what men do. The houses you have, the power that's kept on, the oil in your car, the fuel, the pavement. Trust me, these were built, maintained, and thought of and designed by men. I'm not saying women had zero play, but 99.9% of it is men. Take away everything a man's done, and for a day you will be miserable. Now, I'm not trying to say gotcha. I'm just pointing out reality. So sorry if it hurt your feelings. The next episode was, do men need women? Take away everything women have made. And we're talking about this obviously in a vacuum because either one of us exists without each other. But if you take away everything in a physical world that women have made, we have no counselors, we have no teachers, we have no administration. Dude, cool. I hate to say, but like for a day, that'd be rad. I just want to go enjoy my car and the roads and the house and the AC and the fridge and all the stuff stocked on the shelves. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying we should respect each other for who we are and we need each other. That's how this works. There are people out there who think women don't need men and men that don't need women. And that is false. And I'm trying to help you understand that. That's what those 2 episodes are about. Okay, so those were actually 2 of my favorites, by the way. And those were some of the last ones. So here we go to now today. I got Andre on, and that's it. That's the last episode. That's episode 100. So far, I've been able to get up to 166,000 subscribers. If you go into the analytics, you guys will actually see I have hundreds of thousands of views and comments and people just supporting this channel and rocking and rolling. Go back to our screen here. I just wanted to go over that because really the truth is there's been a huge development with my ability to communicate, and thanks to you guys listening, I appreciate you. You guys have seen a lot of those episodes, and there'll be more information, more entertainment, and things to come in the future. But you'll have to stay a little tuned because I'm in developmental stage with a lot of things. Christy says, Josh, you are right. We can't say it enough. What, I'm handsome? I don't know what she means. Okay, get back to the comments for a second. Episode 55 is another great one. You're not wrong. They were all great. Tattoo interview episodes had some really good lessons. Okay, here we go. My first one was the scary one. That's interesting. So she's talking about the one with the guy with the turtle dick. Okay, so AI robot sex episode was freaking wild. I love talking about tech and how it's going to change the world because I want to think about it preemptively so that we don't get lost. Like, don't give your kids goggles. Like, please don't give your kids goggles. Like, if you could refrain from goggles as long as possible, as much as possible, you will do yourself and your family really good. You're going to be fine without them. I promise, and your kid's going to live. We all did. Please do not give them goggles. Take it for what it's worth. Do your thing, but just know this. You're getting them wrapped up way too early in things that just are not for the betterment of them. So be very careful with that. But I do want to say this real quick. With a couple closing thoughts, and then me and Andre can BS real quick and say goodbye to you guys because it is already 10. I wanted to mention something to you guys I've never told you before, and I feel like it's worth it to tell you. Not because I'm trying to at all bring light to myself, but light to my situation in life so that I can hopefully be of some sort of inspiration or whatever, of some sort of service or use to you guys. I want to say this. So this studio that you guys see behind me, a lot of you don't know this, a few of you do. So a couple years ago, it was during COVID and the lockdowns, and nobody could be evicted, and I was living in a house for years that I raised my kids in, and I was basically getting booted out because they wanted to sell it. And it was out of nowhere. I had 3 weeks to prepare during a time where, if you guys don't know this, zero was available. There was nothing for rent, not even apartments, and everything was skyrocketed. So I had 3 weeks because I was out of state. And then when I got home and finally found a letter that noticed that they were selling the house and that I had to move out, I had not even opened the mail for like a week or two. I was busy trying to catch back up with work and the shop. And so I had 3 weeks to get all of my shit, my whole life that I've raised my kids with and all my stuff. And I had quite a lot of stuff in a big garage and a big backyard full of cars and motorcycles and dirt bikes. Anyways, long story short, I had to find a place. And because I'm a tattoo artist and self-employed, it's really hard, especially in Clovis, to get that kind of respect as a business owner. So finding a place to rent was actually damn near impossible. And I was trying, I was frantic. Like, what am I going to do with my shit? Like, I had no idea. So looking around, nobody's giving me the time of day, and I don't have much time. So long story short, I found a warehouse that was for rent, and I thought, okay, I can at least store my shit there. In the meantime, I'll look for a place. Well, this place you see behind you, which is actually much bigger than this, there's a lot more to it, and it's not necessarily the worst building. I ended up living here for a year. Never really disclosed that. But I want to tell you guys this for this reason. I had made, let's just say, some dumb mistakes with not working on my credit because I was working on my business. Just made some dumb financial moves at the moment. And I found myself in a position where I really needed to feel, and we talked about this earlier with Andre, I needed to feel the suffering to get the message so that I didn't have to find myself. And by the way, you know how fucked up it is to feel when you have teenage kids, especially a daughter, and you have to live in a situation like this where it's like, I have money. I had pockets full of cash. I was doing so good. COVID helped me a lot, actually, financially. But I wasn't being responsible with my credit score at the time because I was just so focused on my business. It was immature and stupid. And also other reasons, things aren't available. There's literally not a house for rent, if you guys don't remember. And so I found this place to keep all my shit. And in the meantime, I had nowhere to stay. So then by the time we move out, all my shit's here. I'm like, well, we're going to have to sleep here until we find a spot. And a year later, I found myself, building rooms for my kids and getting everything cozy here. And essentially the truth is, and it's kind of difficult to say because there's even legal ramifications for this, but living here in the time being. And I decided to sleep on the floor, not have a bed, no bedroom, no amenities, no comfortable stuff. I made sure my kids had everything they needed. And living here was transformative because I want to share this with you guys. It took a year for me to finally, and I was actually leaning against this counter right here where you see right now. I was leaning there, my kids were asleep, and I fucking felt like shit. And I remember just saying, God, if this is what is meant for me to get whatever lesson you're trying to teach me, so be it. I accept. I'm not fighting it anymore. Yes, I'm going to do my due diligence. So I'm still going to work hard and seek, a better life. But if this is what's meant for me right now, I accept. But if there's anything you're trying to show me that I'm not seeing and I need help with, please open my eyes. So it was a moment of acceptance of my position. So I was trying to fight it and deny it and use all these excuses and all these things. And I finally just accepted it, and it felt shitty. The next day, somebody called me and said, hey, there's this house for rent, and this chick's renting it out, and it's super cool. It's big enough. It's really nice. It's clean. And I met her, and she said, I prayed. This is what she told me the next day. Met with her, and she goes, I prayed that I'd find a good family that I could trust in my home. And that was it. And all I'm saying is, with all the stuff I've taught you guys and how this all ties in and all the things I've shared with you guys about my journey, and you guys have shared too, I want you guys to know truly that when you live a life with not just an open mind and an open heart, but with the connectivity, the connection, like a lightning rod, that we become this antenna to the Most High, to God, to the Father above. Things work out not only just for the better, but it gives you this peace of mind to know, and you can rest assured that wherever you are, it's no mistake, you guys. Wherever you're at right now, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're doing, at whatever point in your life you were experiencing, and this is hard to hear sometimes because life is fucking shitty. It can be very, very shitty often. You're right where you're supposed to be for a real good reason. You just might not see it right now. And just keep fucking chugging ahead, keep working, and keep asking for guidance. Keep your open heart. Find a community. We've talked about this many times before. Build a community. Make sure you have a tight-knit family. Make sure that you have the ability to understand how important people are in your life. It's not just like businesses, guys, it's not money and products. Okay? It's people. Families. Families aren't uncles and aunts and cousins and nieces and nephews and kids and vacations and family reunions. It's people, right? That's what life is. It's people, and I've talked about that a lot on here, and I want you guys to remember that those are the things that will be most important to you in the end, and to always remember that there's somebody above looking out for you. And I promise you, just test this if you at all are skeptical, because I know I have been. Right? I understand that skepticism. Just know you can ask. And it shall be given to you. And you can sometimes even simply just say, I accept, and lead me. And I promise you, this is real. Test it if you don't believe it. Seriously, just test it. The Bible even encourages you to do so, by the way. So you don't have to feel bad about that. But I want to share that with you guys because I think that's real. And I've been sharing this episode with you guys in this warehouse for quite some time. And matter of fact, I don't hate it here. I love it, actually. It's fucking rad.
Yeah, this place
It's
is sick.
a really cool place.
I started looking at warehouses.
Yeah, so now Andre wants to get one, and maybe we'll be neighbors. That would be really cool. But I want to share it with you guys. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, I appreciate it. DM me, keep up with me. You guys are going to see a lot from me in the future, so this isn't the end. And I appreciate you guys for sticking with me for so long. It's been a wild journey, and there's only much more to come. Andre, is there anything you could say, any closing words or any thoughts or this being your first episode you've been on, what's something you could say to the people before we close out tonight?
No, everything you said was pretty true at the end there. Like when you hit rock bottom, I had that when I moved back out to Fresno with my son being young like that, where I was working 2 jobs, wasn't making hardly any money. And unfortunately had to be put on like formula because just the way he was, and difficult. But getting paid, and then right immediately after having a paycheck, having $100 to make it 2 weeks,
Right.
And then just seeing 000 across the board in your checking account, no money, and then just feeling that defeat, and just coming home and just feeling absolutely defeated no matter how hard you work.
That's very difficult to accept.
Yeah, and I remember my wife telling me, we were I think we weren't even engaged yet. It was just we were living together. My son was already born, and she just told me, she goes, "Well, I mean, we're already at the bottom.
Right.
Can't go lower than the bottom." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's just like, "So we just go up."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, I don't know how the fuck to get there." And she goes, "You'll find a way."
That's pretty cool.
And she goes, "You can't go lower than the bottom. So now it just makes it easier. Now there's only one way to go, and it's up.
True.
You can't go down anymore. You just go up."
There is some comfort in knowing that.
Yeah, especially coming from when we were living in San Diego, no kids, no nothing, and we're living good, eating out every night, partying, having a good time, and then we get to Fresno, we're dead broke. We have a kid that we have to take care of. That all our energy went to that, and there was multiple times where that entire year, all I ate was sandwiches.
Right.
2 sandwiches, and that was it, and a pickle maybe every once in a while. That entire year for lunch,
And that has changed you into something you couldn't have been without.
Yeah, because I don't want to go back there again,
Sure.
and I definitely don't want my kids to experience that. And I don't want my wife to be there again, and I just don't want to be there again.
Right.
So that's like burned in the back of my head to where it's like, no, absolutely not. It's unacceptable.
It's interesting you say that because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's just unacceptable to say, oh, I don't really need a good credit score right now. I make a ton of money, so like, what's the worst going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, if you have a low credit score, guess what? Nobody's going to rent anything to you.
No,
They won't even sell a house to you, even if you have the money. It doesn't matter.
exactly.
And that I couldn't believe. I felt like a trick was being played on me until I had to realize, Josh, you did this to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you could complain, and then here's the road I went down. Oh, credit scores are stupid. Like, this and that. My business credit score is high, but nobody cares about that if you're renting. They care about your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a tattoo artist, but I'm a business owner. Who cares if that's on my application? They shouldn't care about that. Well, maybe your business shouldn't be called High Sierra Tattoo Co. Maybe it should be an LLC that's doing business as. All things that I knew.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll be fine. Because if you have a pocket full of cash, everything's good, right? Not necessarily. It's actually a lot of things that even if you
Because if you don't have that pocket full of cash, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So it is humbling, but you learn from it and you grow. And sometimes, I don't know about you, you could tell me how you feel about this, but for me in those moments, one of the things I do is I let it sink all the way to rock bottom. Not for the people around me, not for my kids. I make them as comfortable as I can. I always provide for them and protect them. But for me, like when I was living here, I didn't have a bed. I slept on the ground. Eventually, I had to start using a little camping pad because my neck was so jacked. But I wanted to sleep on the ground because it was like, you did this.
Yeah.
And I wanted to feel it.
You live with the consequences.
It fucking sucked.
Yeah. But it teaches you.
Yeah. No, it does. And you have to let it in. And if people are avoiding the pain, you'll never get the message.
Well, the pain will always be there. You can run as long as you want, but you can't run far. And you'll get tired, and guess what's going to be right there at your ass?
Right. Yeah, that's
all
very
that
true.
shit you ran away from. So you just got to face it.
That's crazy. Mandy says, who doesn't love a good pickle?
I still like them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so in the comment section, guys, I did my best to pay attention to all of your responses and questions. If I missed something, I apologize. But you know how to get a hold of me. You know where the shop is. You know what's up. You know what time it is. It's already been 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Goes quick, man.
Told you, bro.
Quick.
Like it feels like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I could go another hour, but I'm not going to. I'm going to call it a night. This is going to be our outro. It's going to be a long outro. We're just going to say goodbye to you guys. We're going to play some music. Andre, of course, absolutely thank you for being here. This was rad.
No problem. It's an honor to be in the last
Super
episode,
cool.
man.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see where you go.
Very cool. It'll be fun. And you guys probably won't be seeing the last of Andre tonight either. So that'll be exciting in the future. So I see you guys in the comments. You're still going. That's great. So as we do an outro, you guys, do me a solid. and keep sending the comments for a few minutes. I'm going to go black. We're going to go dark. We're going to go silent. This is it. This is the end of episode 100. Artistic freedom is now finito. This was my goal. I've reached it. Thank you guys for joining me. It was quite a rush, quite a ride, and a lot of cigars, a lot of whiskey. I don't think ever tears. I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit of blood, at least not on my end. So I don't know what else to say besides thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, all of you. This is not the end completely, but the end of this show, episode 100, Artistic Freedom. Josh Ray Farmer here in Clovis, California, with our last guest, Andre. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going dark, and we will see you guys in the future, okay? If you got some things out of these episodes, if you know anybody you want to share this with, or any of the stuff in the past, I have a plethora of 100 videos out there you guys can revisit, if you will, and you want to get something out of it or share it with somebody who could. So lead us out with some good comments. We'll play some music. And until next time, you will see a new and revised version of me. And I hope you guys have a good summer. I hope you have a good life. I hope it all works out well. This is the last day of school for both of us. And we will see
Thank God.
We will see you on the other side. So thank you guys. Have a good night. Episode 100 over. Josh Ray Farmer out.
You sober now?
No, now, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never, I'm